First step here is I always like to say to pause for a second. Anytime you inherit a large sum of money, it's very easy to figure out, oh, what can I spend this money on? But I think a lot of times taking that step back is really important to make sure you are, kind of considering all avenues, right? And so from a planning standpoint, the most important thing is to know that inheritance doesn't necessarily automatically mean a large tax bill, but what you do after you receive it absolutely can lead to a big tax bill. And so part of that depends on what type of money you inherited, right? If you inherited cash, if you inherited maybe a non-IRA brokerage account, or if it is a retirement account, or even real estate, they're all treated differently from a tax perspective, right? For example, a non-IRA brokerage account probably has a little bit leniency when it comes to some of the taxes due to something called a step-up in basis. Well, on the other hand, if you would inherit an IRA or another retirement account, they have their rules of their own and timelines that, they can create taxes if you're not careful. And so to kind of give everybody a quick breakdown here, before investing or rushing into anything, first step here is don't rush. There's no deadline to invest this money, but rather making sure you're thoroughly thinking through decisions is a lot more important. Second big thing is really be intentional about taxes. The biggest mistake that we sometimes see isn't necessarily about the bad investments, but the tax mistake that leads with that as well. And then lastly is, it kind of goes without saying, Amy, but making sure this money or this inheritance really fits into your overall financial plan, right? How close are you to retirement? Do you already have that emergency fund in place? Do you have some high interest debt that can be used to wipe off some of that expense? And so that's really the big question here is how does this fit into your retirement plan? And more importantly, how can we make sure that it is beneficial for you and or your spouse the most efficient way possible?
I'm not sure how this happened, but we're out of time already, Matt. We just really...
oh, my goodness.
I know. I don't know. I'm looking and it's like, here we are. We're out of time. But always good to hear from you. We'll do this again next week. We'll get some more questions in. But great insight as always. So thank you so much for stopping by and joining me here on the Net Worth Financial Hour. That's our time, 800-725-2988. And we're back next week right here with Beth and Matt on the Net Worth Financial Hour.
Net Worth Advisors, LLC is an independent financial services firm that utilizes a variety of investments and insurance products. Investment advisory services are offered only by registered individuals through Net Worth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. The opinions expressed by Net Worth Advisors on this show are their own and do not reflect the opinion of this station. All statements and opinions expressed are based upon information considered reliable, although it should not be relied upon as such. Any statements or opinions are subject to change without notice. Information presented is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Information expressed does not take into account your specific situation or objectives.
The proceeding was paid for by Net Worth Advisors. Information on the program was intended to solely further the public's general knowledge about the product. Opinions expressed should not be relied upon for any purpose by any member of the audience. News Radio KDKA does not guarantee the accuracy of any of the information heard on the preceding program.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by JTV.com.
I'm Vicki Barker. The U.S. men's ice hockey team nabbed their first Olympic gold in 46 years, beating Canada 2-1 in overtime. CBS's Kelly O'Grady says success was sweet and bittersweet.
There were so many wonderful moments as the players received their medals, but one sticks out. Johnny Gaudreau, he passed away in a cycling accident last year. He was expected to make the team, and when Team USA, the men's hockey team, was having their photo taken, they held up his jersey, and it was just such a moment of remembrance and honoring a player that wasn't able to be on that gold medal team, but still was remembered in the moment.
Nearly 30 million Americans in Northeast bracing for more blizzards. New York Mayor Mamdani declaring a state of emergency and ordering a citywide travel ban.
We are taking every precaution and are prepared for the intense volume of snow to come. Code Blue is in effect, with outreach workers canvassing all 5 boroughs 24/7 and helping homeless New Yorkers come inside.
The Trump administration's determined to sidestep that Supreme Court decision, striking down the sweeping Trump tariffs, replacing them with global 15% tariffs using different legislation. But will the roughly $134 billion in revenue taken by those now outlawed tariffs be refunded? Here's Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent on CNN's State of the Union.
The Supreme Court didn't even address that. The Supreme Court remanded it down to a lower court, and we will follow what they say, but that could be weeks or months when we hear them. So the Supreme Court did not address refunds.
Former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte faces a pretrial hearing at the International Criminal Court, or ICC, in The Hague tomorrow. Lauren Kamato has more from Amsterdam.
While it's unlikely the 80-year-old former leader will appear in court, prosecutors will present evidence to prove there was enough of it to bring him to trial on 3 counts of crimes against humanity, including murder, allegedly committed while Duterte was both mayor and president. His defense lawyer, Nicholas Kaufman, will likely also present evidence to get the charges dropped.
He denies any connection to this. He denies that there was a policy. He denies that there was a conspiracy.
Judges have 60 days to issue their decision. Lauren Kamato for CBS News, Amsterdam.
And Britain's version of the Oscars, the BAFTA ceremony, is underway this hour.
This is the end of the line, huh?
And Paul Thomas Anderson has just been named Best Director for his darkly comic political thriller, One Battle After Another. Battle comes into the ceremony with 14 nominations, followed by Ryan Coogler's vampire horror, Sinners. This is CBS News.
Looking for spring jewelry looks? Find them at Jewelry Television. New customers get $20 off purchases of $99 or more at jtv.com.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-265-7681. 800-265-7681. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. 800-265-7681.
New numbers are out on how people are dining out.
Dining out research from Bank of America Institute begins with the good news.
Restaurant spending is doing pretty solid.
However, recently, says Institute economist Taylor Bowley,
consumers are becoming pickier eaters. We're seeing there's bigger tabs, but there's fewer trips to restaurants.
That's because prices are up 30% from pre-pandemic levels, and diners are cutting back on fast food restaurants.
Lower income household spending is starting to moderate, where higher income households are really picking up.
Stephen Kaufman, CBS News.
Finally returning to the Olympics, sort of. Donna Summer's music catalog is spiking on Spotify after figure skater Alyssa Liu won Olympic gold with a program set to Summer's 1978 disco rendition of MacArthur Park Suite. Forbes says streams rose 1,300% in 24 hours. I'm Vicki
Jen. The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
This afternoon, we'll see snow with a high of 33. It continues through tonight. Total accumulation by tomorrow, 1 to 3 inches. Low tonight, 27. Tomorrow's high, 32. Tuesday with clouds, 33. For AccuWeather, I'm Bill Degger, 100.1 FM at AM 1020 KDKA.
And now,
you want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't
can't handle.
Lenny McAllister.
The way we bring back America and bring people together is by making sure we hold everybody accountable in a 360 fashion.
Yes, there is a change that we can believe in, but it will never come from a politician or a government program.
Lenny McAllister. Well spoken.
We got to move away from the American Idol soundbite nature of politics back to the American statesman of humble servant leadership that we used to see in politics.
If we get some common sense governing from both sides of the aisle, we can finally get Americans through the recession, not just Wall Street.
Principles of politics. I'd rather have principles. I speak to the kids in the street. Well, I'm never going to lay down being a conservative just as much as I'll never lay down being a proud African American.
I feel like a black Republic. Money I got coming in. Can't turn my back on the hood. I got love for them.
Welcome to the show. This is your host, John Barron, and uh-oh. Too soon? 866-391-1020? Too soon? I don't know. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, apparently John Barron made a phone call into C-SPAN today, and I thought literally I was getting punked when I heard about this. And considering I'm Lenny McAllister, this is News Radio KDKA, you can call in into 866-391-1020 and punk me regularly, particularly over the next 3 hours. That was not a surprise. What was a surprise was the fact that when I thought I was being punked by somebody that is reputable, honorable, kind, legendary, I should have known I wasn't being punked, but it was so outlandish that I said, I have to be getting punked. And then I went to La Googla and I looked it up, and lo and behold, there are multiple stories on the interwebs talking about John Barron calling in and complaining about the Supreme Court decision concerning the tariffs. And of course, along the way, John Barron decided to insult people while complaining about the Supreme Court decision. I don't know if I'm going to start there. I didn't plan on starting there until I got that text. When I thought I was being punked, and then I realized the person that I got the text from was honorable and legendary, and everybody loves this individual, and there would be no way that this person would want to punk me, much less punk me before I was going on the air to publicly embarrass myself and my family like I do for 3 hours every Sunday. Like I need any help doing that. Just kidding, maybe. That said, I don't know if I want to start there. I will talk about it. If you want to talk about it, 866-391-1020, because it's less about the phone call on live television. It's less about the calls coming from inside the house, which used to be an axiom that you would say. It's now literally like the calls are coming from inside the house on C-SPAN. If that was John Barron. And by the way, for those of you that don't know who John Barron is, John Barron used to be the pseudonym for one Donald J. Trump billionaire who owns multiple mansions and yachts. And he would call into media in New York and complain about stuff under the pseudonym of John Barron. This is established. And again, when I first heard it, I like, this has to be AI. This can't possibly be real. And then I looked on the internet and I saw that there were multiple links. And I'm like, oi, maybe this is real. And I will say this, and then I'm going to get back to what I did want to start the show with. I'll go any place. I got 3 hours. Starting this week, because Mr. Moore retired, I will be doing 4 hours. I'll be doing 2 to 6 normally. However, I'm not doing 2 to 6 today because, playoff basketball for high school sports and things along those lines. Got to have the kiddos on. Love supporting all the kiddos. And by the way, for those of you out there rooting for your kiddo, do not root against somebody else's kiddo. Root for your kiddo to be the best. Don't root for somebody's kiddo to trip over their own feet and bust their teeth out going in for a game-tying layup. Some people do that. Many of us don't do that. Some of us, you need to, what did they say back in the day in the 1990s? You better check yourself before you wreck yourself. Playing pop culture bingo and talking about John Barron, all in the first segment I'm on fire. Anyhow. I wasn't going to talk about John Barron, but it just came to me. What I wanted to talk about, and I'll go any place. Like I said, 866-391-1020. I got 3 hours, not 4 hours. Mr. Moore retired last week. Again, hat tip to him for literally being on Pittsburgh airwaves since 1980 and being on these airwaves since I believe it was 94. He first came on KDKA. And in fact, at one point in time, he was on KDKA and then WCXJ down in Homewood. He has been a voice in Pittsburgh media for practically my whole life. And that's actually where I wanted to start. Because there's both a celebration and a mourning that comes when A, somebody that's been on the airwaves that long retires, and B, and more notably in Pittsburgh, when one of the African-American voices retires. And there's two sets to this. Number one, there's the face of news reporting, which is significant. And I've had friends over the years that have been part of that. You know, for example, Tiki Artist was very good at that. Obviously, we have Tamara Rush. Tiki's down in Atlanta now. By the way, she's from Philadelphia, by the way. Tamara does excellent work here in the newsroom. Rob Taylor. But generally speaking, and that's just here. Generally speaking, though, you don't see a whole lot of African Americans doing news. Generally not on an anchor desk, even though hat tip to Lisa Sylvester over WPXI, somebody I worked with, somebody that my wife and I used to follow on CNN when she first started there years ago. I believe she started on the Situation Room on CNN. So it was a surprise when I came to Pittsburgh, or came back to Pittsburgh, that she was working at PXI, and she's been there ever since. But that's it. There's two segments to this. Number one, and you'll see why I'm going here to not only, once again, give Mr. Moore his flowers, but also kind of put this out there, because I've been thinking about this for a second. So number one, there's the news reporting, the person that goes on, you know, the sites of breaking news and gathers the information and gives a report and throws it back to the anchor. There's not a whole lot of African Americans in this region that does that. Nor are there a whole lot of African Americans that end up being on the anchor desk for a while. Brandon Rose and his lovely wife, Pamela Osborne, they're up in Detroit right now. They both, again, I worked with them at WPX at DeMonte Lewis, who's now down in Charlotte, by way of the South Side. And not the South Side of Pittsburgh, the South Side of Chicago. Worked with him at PXI when I was at PCNC. It's representation matters. So there's two segments, like I said. Number one are the people that report the news. But rarer still, particularly in this region, are African Americans that get to crack open the microphone to analyze the news, give you opinion and analysis and facts and interpretations that come from a specific point of view. That does not always happen, generally speaking, much less in a city that, and Olga and Tamara said this last week when they were on with me. In Pittsburgh, we're still going through our first African-American this, first African-American that, at a time where much of the rest of the country did this 50, 60, 70 years ago. So for a voice like Mr. Moore's to retire after being on for multiple decades, to be a consistent presence on multiple networks, it's meaningful. But I thank him for that. He cracked open the door for people like me. In fact, he's not the type of dude that would crack open the door. He'd hold open the door and probably try to take it off the hinges to make sure that the right people got through as quickly and as orderly and as preparedly as possible. That's who he is. But I meant to start the show talking about him because I want to go to another aspect that I just got to be honest about. And if you want to call in 866-391-1020, do so. because it has been something that's been on my mind, and I will pivot into something different. I mean, those of you that are watching the live stream, you see that I am once again wearing my Rainbow Push Coalition pin, and I do plan on going to Chicago this week. It's a weird feeling. I'll get into that as well because I want to go. There are people I want to see. I don't want to be on camera. I don't want to try to act like I did more than I did. I didn't work at Rainbow Push for 25 years like some of these people will have. I didn't know Reverend personally for 40 years like some of these people will have. That's not what I'm trying to do. But I do feel like I need to go. Not only to pay my respects, but also to see people that I worked with. That we did the work with Reverend with together. On air and off air. In front of cameras and things that you'd never even hear about. Unless if I told you about it years later. Some of these stories I'm telling you all, the stories happened 10, 15 years ago. And that's okay. I'll get to that in a second. I want to finish up on what I'm thinking about Mr. Moore. I will get to the phone calls whenever they come in. 866-391-1020. I see little flashes of green light on the side. I don't know if those are the UFOs that President Obama was talking about or if those are phone calls. I'll find out after the news break at the bottom of the hour. But I'm going to start looking now during this break on News Radio KDKA.
Your source for official traffic information. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
I'm with Joe Potocznik, JP Roofing and Siding. Congratulations, Joe. Triple Crown winner from Owens Corning.
Yes, Larry. We are proud to announce that we are recognized for service excellence, product excellence, and MVP based on marketing leadership and customer service.
Call Joe and his team. You'll get the best of the best. Get a free estimate for roof and siding replacements. Call the Roofing Replacement Experts at JP Roofing and Siding, 412-829-7711. Congrats, Joe.
Thank you, Larry.
The popularity of cremation is on the rise. Unfortunately, so is the cost. I'm Dustin D'Alessandro, supervisor and funeral director. To keep the costs down, the Thomas M. Smith Funeral Home and Crematory Limited in Blawnox and the D'Alessandro Funeral Home and Crematory Limited in Lawrenceville have on-site crematories. By performing the cremation on-site without losing custody of the remains, our funeral homes can defray those costs and pass the savings on to you. Our fee for a direct cremation is only $1,250. This low-cost, direct cremation offer is available to all residents of Allegheny County. Surrounding counties will incur a slight additional fee based on mileage. Contact us with questions or to schedule an appointment by calling the Blawnox office at 412-828-5700 or our Lawrenceville office at 412-682-6500. Our websites are thomasmsmithfuneralhome.com and delisandroltd.com.
Why does it matter to members that Aetna was named a Best Medicare Advantage company by U.S. News & World Report? Because they chose a plan that gives them real support, real people, and real care. We show up with care management that ensures doctors work together on complicated conditions. We show up with the latest in online tools to make healthcare easier to use anytime. We don't show up for awards. We show up for you. And showing up for you is how healthier happens together.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Why should you hire America's largest injury law firm for your case? There's lots of reasons. Just like there's a reason millions of people called us last year in their time of need. When it comes to fighting for justice and compensation, millions of people across the country trust us to go to battle for them. We became the largest injury law firm in the world for a reason. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Columbia Gas of Pennsylvania is committed to the communities they serve, ensuring that all their customers stay safe and warm in their homes during the cold winter months. To ensure that no one goes without heat when the temperatures drop, Columbia Gas offers energy efficiency and bill payment assistance programs to make their customers' lives easier. To learn more about the valuable services available through Columbia Gas, call 1-888-460-4332 or visit online at columbiagaspa.com.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com
an appliance and HVAC part solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
So here's the thing, and then I'll get to the phones in a second. This is what I was chewing on, mulling on, all that other jazz over the last several days. One, like I said, you can't really replace Chris Moore. He fit the airwaves in Pittsburgh in a very unique way. Not everybody does that. And it made me think of this, because, again, I was here for the celebration, all the wonderful people here, and the food, and the laughter, and the pictures, and the memories, and the compliments, and the like. And it made me think about, okay, what's my obligation? I built this up to this. What's my obligation as, right now, one of the few black voices in the region that gets to analyze the news, analyze current events, be a political analyst, be a person that picks apart the State of the Union that's coming up Tuesday, and, you know, the tariffs decision on Friday, and what may be going on with police interactions in XYZ city and the like. And it's interesting to me, and I don't know, part of this is just an acknowledgement, part of this is maybe an apology, preemptively. But I think particularly, and I know that there are people out there saying, you're really being mighty black today, Lenny. Well, sorry. Look at the YouTube screen. You can see. Chris Moore was, and I'm unapologetically black as well, but when you went to an HBCU, and you're from the South, and you're from the civil rights generation, and you come strolling in here all the time with your Grambling gear on, and you had to be a trailblazer 50 years ago, that's a different type of being black. And I acknowledge that, and it's really cool. But then it made me think about, okay, what's my obligation moving forward? Because, you know, Mr. Moore plays cool jazz from the 1940s. I literally have a montage of different speeches, and I come in with Jay-Z and Nas talking about I feel like a black Republican. It's different. And I don't know. And so this is what I'm putting out there. This is just something to chew on. I have always been aware that my blackness in particular looks and feels different than what we collectively generally think of when it comes to black advocacy. Generally speaking, from a political standpoint, you don't have African Americans talking about civil rights from the political right. You don't have a bunch of Republicans going on civil rights trips with Jesse Jackson Sr. You don't. You don't have a whole bunch of black Republicans agreeing with Al Sharpton on some issues and being able to debate him with respect, mutual respect, on other issues. I guess my point is this. I am not going to try to be Mr. Moore. Mr. Moore is the Moore of Pittsburgh. Not a Moore of Pittsburgh. He is the Moore of Pittsburgh. And of course there's a double entendre there. Now, I am a Moore in Pittsburgh. But my background's so different. So much of a Venn diagram, if you will. Like I did that out there, everybody. That it's hard to kind of reflect who he's been or who Lynn Hayes Freeland was on these airwaves. And I just want to say that. Because there are going to be times where people are like, well, Chris Moore wouldn't have said that. Well, no, he wouldn't have. But he wouldn't have said it 6 months ago. We would have said it differently. Now, there will certainly be sometimes, like what I'm going to bring up after the break. I'm going to get to Bishop and Ruth after this and other phone calls coming in at 866-391-1020. Hang tight, because I want to go to the news and then give you all a chance to talk. There will be things. I'm not tearing up my blackness from like 8 to 10 all of a sudden, but I am aware when you're the only one, and this is something that women understand and other minorities understand, including African Americans, that when you're in the majority, you don't quite get. You are very attunely aware when you're the only one. There is an obligation when you're the only one. And I used to tell people all the time, they were like, why can you be silly on the radio, but you won't be silly on television? It's like, because people can see me. They can see I'm black. And if I'm going to default to anything, it's going to be statesmanship when people see me as a black man. On radio, it's different. I'm going to still be, a little goofy. Can't help it. I'm getting older. It's kind of hard to contain it all. Pop culture bingo has taken over the nation. I have to play it every now and then with my random rap lyrics or, quotes from 1978 sitcoms. Doing it my way. For example, Laverne and Shirley, I gave you an actual answer to that one. I'm not doing it again. There are just going to be times where I will probably pause a little bit more because Mr. Moore's not here, and I'm going to be mindful just a little bit more that I have a little bit more of an obligation. I already had one. I never put that aside. I was raised to have that obligation. That's never going anywhere. But I'm aware that because he's not here, that I have a little bit more than I already did, which was high, to make sure that the best of that aspect of America, and it's not the only aspect of America, it's not the most important aspect of America, but particularly in Black History Month, it is an important aspect of America, and it shall continue to be. I can't be him, and I won't be him. But I will try to live up to a standard that he helped set, that I'd like to think that I helped as well. But now, it's shifted a little bit. Just wanted to throw that out there. 866-391-1020, going to news, going to Bishop, going to Ruth, and going to you at 866-391-1020 on the award-winning, Marconi Award-winning, as a matter of fact, News Radio KDKA.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
What is life-changing medicine? The discovery of cancer at the earliest possible stage, challenging limits and transforming the impossible into reality, or connecting people to doctors and specialists when they need it most. At UPMC, we believe life-changing medicine is all those things. Our goal is to change the world of medicine and the lives of those around us. UPMC. Changing healthcare, changing lives. Life-changing medicine.
Larry Richard for CertaPro Painters. I've been a customer for over a decade. Why? Because the professional work CertaPro Painters does protects your home, quality paint, worry-free process, free estimates. That's why I've relied on CertaPro Painters. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here in our community. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
I was ordering food for the office from the same few places for too long.
For workplaces suffering with office food fatigue, every day's a struggle.
Before starting Easy Cater, I assumed having no good vegan options for Carl in finance was normal.
EasyCater is designed to treat OFF with a huge variety of favorite restaurants, plus tools to help you meet dietary needs and stay on budget. Used daily, one platform lets you save time and shine. Ask your app store about EasyCater or start an order at easycater.com.
From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
CBS News Brief. What a way to close out the Olympic Games. The men's ice hockey team have scored their first Olympic gold since the 1980 Games at Lake Placid, beating Canada 2-1 in overtime.
What a way to end this Winter Games with Team USA on top, first time in 46 years.
CBS's Kelly O'Grady in Milan. Nearly 30 million people in the nation's northeast braced for another massive blizzard. Charlie Gishlar with the Maryland State Highway Administration says,
be safe. Try not to travel if you don't have to. If you do, go slow.
And the Trump administration determined to sidestep that Supreme Court ruling that the president's sweeping tariffs were illegal. So Trump's now announced a 15% global levy, which can stay in place for 150 days before going to members of Congress. U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer telling CBS Face the Nation.
We're happy to talk to them about it, but we're not going to stop our program. We'll just use the congressional authorities they've extended already for now.
CBS News Brief, I'm Vicki Barr.
How about some fantastic February savings at Coons Market? Isn't that right, Frank Dentisi?
Right, Rob. In our meat department, individually quick frozen tilapia fillets, $3.49 a pound. In the produce department, extra large golden pineapples are $3.99 each. In our deli, battered walleye fillet strips are $13.99 a pound. And additional savings this week, selected varieties of Mrs. T pierogies, 12 to 16-ounce packages, 2 for $5.
Fantastic savings. Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition.
Here's a tale of Linda trying to lose weight, but the med prices she found were all over the place.
Hidden fees and markups made her jaw drop low. Then she found Good RX. Now she's in the know.
GLP-1 subscriptions FDA approved.
With clear upfront pricing.
And same-day pickup.
That's Good RX, the no-nonsense way. Save time and money on prescriptions.
Get to goodrx.com/weight loss. GoodRx is not insurance.
Ah, the most beautiful time of year is upon us. Tax season. And Tax Slayer is here to help you file. We guarantee 100% accuracy and your maximum refund. Those are some good numbers. And you can trust me, because I'm a talking calculator. Did I mention Tax Slayer even has support from real US-based humans? If you have any questions along the way, beat the rush and start for free today. Tax Slayer. File fearlessly.
Y108 presents Odyssey, The Night Before, powered by Bowser Chevrolet, starring Jason Aldean.
Hey, what's up, Pittsburgh? I'm Jason Aldean.
With special guests John Morgan and Shane Prophet. Wednesday, April 22nd, inside the Event Center at Rivers Casino, Pittsburgh. You just started. It's my kind of party. We're sitting in a console. All right, now what y'all say we have a little bit of fun. Y'all ready? You can't buy a ticket to this show. You can only win your way in. Full details at y108.com. Presented by Miller Lite and brought to you by your local AAA travel office, Panhandle Restoration, and Broken Bow Records.
Ready to start thinking like Wall Street without leaving Main Street? Tune in Sunday mornings at 6:30 for a slice of advice with Kelton Burgess. Right here on the Voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Keeping up with bills can be tough, but you don't have to do it alone. Duquesne Light Company's Customer Assistant Program helps income-qualified customers lower their monthly electric bills. The employees at Duquesne Light realize these are difficult times, and they're committed to supporting our communities. Applying is simple. Just visit duquesnelight.com/CAP and apply online. Don't wait. See if you qualify today. At Duquesne Light Company, they are here to help when you need it most.
New to Medicare, get covered with MediConnect. Listen Wednesdays around 1:40 to hear Lance O'Brien of MediConnect help you navigate the Medicare process. Simply great, unbiased information to get you the best healthcare coverage. Get covered with MediConnect. Medicare made simple.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred roofing replacement contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
A cloudy day awaits us today with more snow out there, high 33. It continues off and on tonight and tomorrow, accumulating 1 to 3 inches. 27 tonight, 32 tomorrow in clouds, and 33 Tuesday. For AccuWeather, I'm Bill Dager, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, it is chilly now over the weekend. Monday, I'll be back in a little bit late start. We got warm weather baseball down in Florida. So catch me Monday after Pirate Baseball, all the way till 6 o'clock. Colin Dunlap, KDK.
All right, let me go ahead and go back to those phone lines like I said. Just wanted to lay that out there. I have a Chris Moore-esque type of thing to bring up, by the way. It's something that Mr. Moore would have probably brought up. And he would have brought it up. I still would have had the special intel to kind of drive it. So just kind of consider it a combination of the two, if you will. 866-391-1020. Go into those phone lines. Bishop and Denora, you're on KDK.
Let me get you started. Congratulations on your new time slot at 3 to 6.
Well, it's actually right? It's 2 to 6. I will be on next week at 2. I just get an extra hour, but we had high school basketball yesterday, which meant that they had to bump a little bit of what I did today, so we got bumped down for a second.
Right. So,
but thank you.
So you'll be 2 to 6. 2 to 6, right?
Yes.
And who's going to be after that, or are they going to do something else?
I don't know yet. There's scuttlebutt going around, so I shall not engage.
KDK, do me a favor, make history and make tomorrow after Lenny, black female. It'll do you good in the entire region and the community. Now, my point, I'm proud of you as a bishop and a councilman, and that you have to be you. Like you said, there's only one Chris Moore, and he served us well, and he's going to be missed, but now it's your time. I wanted to say congratulations to the men's hockey team. Number 3 is Jesse Jackson lived and did incredible things. I'm not going to hire on some of the things that could have been done, but he did some incredible things to change even the voting in this country. Now,
with that said, people, and I mentioned this on Wednesday, Reverend Jackson changed how the Democratic Party allocated their delegates, which allowed for Barack Obama to become 44th president of the United States 20 years later. People don't realize that, but he brokered that behind the scenes 20 years prior. That's part of the reason why he was crying. People are like, he's crying because he thought it was going to be him and he was jealous. It's like, he wasn't jealous. If you put in work and you help open a door to something that most people didn't think they'd ever see, and then you're seeing it in your hometown, no less, which, by the way, I know he's from Greenville, South Carolina, but he was in Chicago forever. Chicago was his hometown. Right. Yeah, you'd cry too. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, now they changed some of the funeral arrangements around that. Now, I might want to go as well. I thought about, are they doing one in Washington, D.C., and do you know that time of the date?
I'm going to Chicago. I'm going to Chicago. There may be one in D.C. because you got to understand there are multiple chapters of Rainbow Push Coalition. There's one in D.C., there's one in Atlanta, there's one in Detroit, one in Los Angeles, and then one obviously in Chicago.
I know they did the one in Washington because Johnson declined to let Reverend be in the rotunda there, and that's a shame.
It's funny because I'm going to get on that in a second because that's not exactly what I heard that they wanted. But go ahead.
Well, maybe not. I may, like I did with John Lewis, I may go to one of them. That being said, I am glad the Supreme Court did what they did with the tariffs. But however, he hasn't learned his lesson. He's going to tax the rest of the country. 15%? It's a disgrace how this man and these staffers, and some of them that you're friends with some of them, are misguiding him. And I think it's going to be
But hold on, Bishop. I don't think they're misguiding him. Do you think Donald Trump listens to people?
No, I don't think he does.
So nobody's misguiding him because he doesn't listen to anybody. It'd be like saying, your wife told you not to keep eating chocolate bars for breakfast, and it's like my wife makes scrambled eggs and wheat toast, but I'm like, I'm not listening to her. She's only my wife, and I eat these chocolate bars. That's basically the attitude that Donald Trump has with all of his advisors, which is why people were so dead set against him getting a second term, because they said there would be no guardrails, unlike some of the people that he did have around him during term one.
Well, I think that this country is in trouble. I think he's going to try to start wars to try to negate elections, as well as cause mayhem in the country to negate elections. Because I honestly, I think he really knows that the midterm is going to go Democratic prior to the House. I don't know about the Senate. It could, but we'll see. And I think he's going to do everything he can to try to decimate that. So I'll talk to you and I'll listen to you, my brother. Congratulations.
Thank you, child of God. I appreciate you. And listen, I appreciate the kind words. I'm not going to try to be Mr. Moore. In fact, that was the whole point of me saying that, was to kind of let people know I'm not going to try to be Mr. Moore. I'm not going to, I'm not going to, like I said, turn my blackness up to 10, even though it's pretty darn high as it is. I'm going to be me. But I'm not going to try to articulate opinions on race the way he would. But just to be fair, anybody that knew me longer than, 45 seconds ago, probably already figured that out. But it was something that I did chew on, because it's like, okay, you do realize you're even during part one when I was here 10 years ago, I was not the only African-American voice on these airwaves. In fact, there was a point of time when there were three of us on air, because it was Lynn Hayes Freeland, Chris Moore, and me. And between the three of us, I was the baby, obviously. So it's not like that now. So there's a different level of perspective that I need to make sure that I have. And on top of that, 10 more years of experience, 10 more years of a lot of different things that I've done, that I've been in the tussle with. Good and bad, civil rights fights, good and bad. It matters. It matters. 866-391-1020. Going to Ruth in Dormont. She is now on KDKA.
Hi, this is off topic. Don't be mad at me. But I just turned on my internet a little while ago, and I get a podcast out of the UK called Tousi, Tousi TV. He's a Middle Eastern guy. But there's a war going on in Mexico right now, and I'm not even exaggerating. Right now, a war has broken up in 6 states in 15 cities by the cartels against the government in Mexico, because apparently the government of Mexico and the U.S. killed El Mencho, who is the CNCG something cartel, and they have 2 demands: give his body back and give to us all the people that killed him in Mexico, and the military and intelligence officers from the U.S. that caused his death. And, of course, that's not going to happen. And in 3 hours, that's about 3 hours their time, 5 o'clock their time, if this is not done, they're going to go door to door and just start killing people, civilians, in the hotels, in the houses. I just was so shocked, because I'm getting boots on the ground footage of this, and they're blowing things up. They're killing people, and it's insane. It is a real war, and it's right over our border. And the head of the Mexican government, that woman, is asking the U.S. to help. So it was all a little shocking. That's why I called in. I was shocked.
Ruth,
are you shocked?
I will vet. I appreciate your call. I will vet it. I want to see what they're saying about it. Would I be shocked that they're doing that? No. Have I seen gangs be that violent before? Yeah. Again, I was just talking about the south side of Chicago. Heck, even here in Pittsburgh. People forget the gang wars 30 years ago, Ruth. Now, I don't know if you were still in Dormont, but those of us that lived in the East remember that you just could not wear a certain color. If you were standing at the bus stop wearing red in, let's say, East Liberty or Wilkinsburg, you could just be standing there minding your own business at 50 years old, and somebody might just shoot you. Terrorism is terrorism. I'm not justifying it. I'm not saying one's worse than another. I'm just saying that the extremes. We've seen those extremes here in the United States. Now, I could get all domestic terrorism-y on you and go into the history books and talk about random people being killed just because, but I won't. Chris Moore would, but I won't. You probably understand where I'm going with that. My point is, I will vet it. I would like to hear more about what's going on and how they're going to intervene. Because if this really is going to be what goes down at 5 o'clock Eastern or Central, whatever, I guess they don't have an Eastern. Well, they do probably have an Eastern at the southern part of Mexico. Definitely a Central, obviously. And definitely a Pacific and Mountain Time. That said, if it's going to go down like that, I'd like to see what the response is going to be. Because part of it is you can't block the border knowing that people are trying to escape that and then not be involved. You cannot not cut off the supply or the need for the supply of drugs, the demand, I should say, here in the United States, and then say, well, that's just their problem. If you're going to have a Don Rowe doctrine, you have to think about all of the Americas, North and South, like we have on other things. That said, 866-391-1020. Mike the Millennial, I'll get to you after the break. Others, Eric, I see you calling in. Hang tight. Going to break, then going back to the phones. 866-391-1020 here on News Radio KDKA.
When you need to know, depend on the news leader. At home, in your car, or at work. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM, AM 1020, and KDKA-radio.com.
A warmer, safer winter in every home across Pittsburgh is why NRG is proud to sponsor the 18th annual Warmathon and honored to share in this city's generous spirit. When you pick NRG as your energy supplier, you'll have the power to do more, like earn cash back and travel rewards, or even contribute to local nonprofits just for paying your bill. With NRG, giving back is built in. Learn more and switch today at picknrg.com. Your family is always on the go, so are the Tootie trucks and technicians. Tootie has been servicing homes and businesses in the Pittsburgh area for over 35 years. Trust Tootie with your home's heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical systems. Your family's comfort and safety are always their top priority. At Tootie, you're part of the family. Tootie provides superior home services with unparalleled honesty and professional courtesy. Call today, 412-499-3110.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. After my husband died, the last thing I wanted to think about was money. Ethos made it affordable to get life insurance. Signing up was fast and 100% online. I knew that I could pay our mortgage and have food in the fridge. I could focus on my kids. No one ever tells you how much you're going to depend on that policy. I am so grateful we had coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
In a world in need of a hero, one man rises to the challenge in style. He is...
just driving the kids to soccer practice.
Make every day feel epic in the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid with up to an EPA-estimated 619 miles of range on select trims, advanced tech, and class-leading interior space. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
And hey, come on, no cleats on the seats.
The Big K Morning Show with Larry Richards.
Sheldon Williams, so your new City of Pittsburgh Public Safety Director.
Just really want your listeners to know that one of the benefits, I would say, and the opportunities that I have to serve in this capacity is bringing a variety of experiences that I have and perspectives to better serve the citizens of Pittsburgh.
Weekday mornings 5:30 to 10 on the Voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
All right, 866-391-1020. Going back to the phone lines. Mike the Millennial, I talked to another millennial out in Colorado not that long ago, so it's kind of ironic that you call in. You are now on KDKA.
Oh, really? What was the context of that conversation?
I I will tell you off air if once we're done talking, you stay on hold, and I will share a secret with you if you dare choose to have a secret shared with you. How about that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sounds good. Well, hey, Lenny, first of all, I just want to say thank you for, speaking so highly about Chris Moore. And I really, I listened to your entire show last week before Chris's, send-off show. And I did not know, and I don't know if you heard my call with Chris, but I mentioned to you, I did not know Chris had such a big impact on young people around that region there in Pittsburgh. And I was really amazed because I think that, that was such an amazing thing he did is, and what he's going to be really remembered for is mentoring a lot of young people in the media field, in that field in Pittsburgh. And, I think it was just amazing. And, obviously no one can replace him. I think he brought people happiness around the world. I started calling into his show in 2021 and did that for, like 4 or 5 years up until he retired. And I'm going to miss him. One thing I really respected about Chris is he put such a big emphasis on the callers. He made that the centerpiece of the show, much like, Rush did or the greats of radio, so many Bob Grant, the greats of radio did. And I think that's really going to be missed as far as talk radio goes for, obviously your city and, more broadly around the country. But yeah, I just wanted to, first of all, say that.
No, I second your comments. I mean, for me, and I'll say this, and I know you want to get into current events with Mr. Moore. You got to understand that for a lot of the people in the Pittsburgh area, young folks that went to the media, he was in a lot of ways one of like the only black folks that you would see on television in the 80s, much less on PBS Pittsburgh, WQED. So you're not expecting to see him there, and yet he's there. And then he's talking about issues that matter to black Pittsburghers. And then doing it in a way where you can be proud of it. And that's not always common. I mean, there's garbage in the media from all different shapes, sizes, creeds, colors, and the like. You can do it classy or you can be trashy. It's one or the other, and he was always classy. Right. So to go from that to then training people in the media, that's what you heard last week, Mike, was the fact that there were people that remembered watching him, then listening to him, then learning from him, and then possibly sharing the airwaves with him. That's a huge career arc for a Gen Xer or a millennial or even a Gen Zer to go through with a guy that's been around as long as they've been alive.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I just, he gave people a chance. And that's what I so much respected about him because, there's some people on talk radio and they like to talk about themselves and they spend the entire show talking about, themselves and their political positions and how they're more far to the right of the next person. Chris didn't do that. He made it about the callers. He made it about, us. And he always gave, people a chance, and especially young people a chance. And that's something that I really, really respected and admired about him on a deep level. And I think, I think, I could tell how much he influenced you just listening to how you kind of infuse, some of what he did into your own show. And it really, really shows in a big way, I think. I did have a comment on the tariff situation, but I don't know if you wanted to, follow up on that at all real quick.
Real quick, I will say that, one thing that I have learned over the years is to learn from everybody that I've had a chance to work with. I mean, I still remember being at WVON doing my radio show in the morning, and here comes Reverend Jackson walking in the middle of my show. And, when you're not, it's one thing when somebody walks in the studio and you would expect, when you expect it, Mike, it's a different story. When you're talking and you're thinking about something, there are no phone callers, so you're trying to make sure you put a cogent thought together, maybe there are prompts of phone callers or prompt conversation, and you look, and like the civil rights icon of the last 40 years just walks in the studio, just kind of Mine's, he puts his stuff down, gets ready. You're like, and I'm mid-sentence, like, and there's Reverend Jackson. Hey, Reverend Jackson. I'm just kind of walking in, and he kind of gave me a quick wave and kept going about his business. I mean, I say that because whether it was him or others that I had a chance to work with, there's always something, if you're inclined, there's always something that you can learn from and become better. I mean, civically, we talk about being a more perfect union. Well, personally, you're supposed to be going towards a more perfect, knowing that, like Vince Lombardi said, we'll chase perfection, and although we'll never catch perfection, we will be excellent in the process.
Oh, yeah. And Jesse Jackson, I mean, I was watching Morning Joe this past week on MS Now, and they were, Al Sharpton was on talking about, when he was on the balcony, Jesse Jackson was on the balcony when Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated, and it was just so powerful just to, obviously that's such a huge, thing that happened in history, and most people know, but just to hear that and recount it was really, it makes you think. It makes you put history into perspective and everything, Jesse Jackson accomplished in his life, and it's just like mind-blowing that he's gone, and sad because he did just as much as Martin Luther King Jr., I think, for civil rights and making a change in that arena. And it's really, really a huge loss. And I think he's going to be greatly missed as well, definitely.
He will. And Mike, I'm going to hold you on until after the news break because I know you still want to get to current events. And I will say this, as somebody that worked at Rainbow Push, April was odd there. The mood changed. The place has so many historic pictures around it. But one of the pictures that you would see that you wouldn't expect to see is like the picture right before MLK was assassinated. And part of it is because I think Reverend and the people that have been there forever wanted to always remember that some people didn't have a chance to complete the mission. Medgar Evers didn't get a chance to complete the mission. MLK didn't get a chance to complete the mission. The three activists that were killed in Philadelphia, Mississippi, did not get a chance to complete the mission. And that they were sitting there on the south side of Chicago with a chance to do it. I think they wanted that reminder, but that does not mean that every April you can just tell the mood of the place shifted because of the remembrance. That said, Mike, I'll get back to you after the news, and I'm getting to Erica and others, 866-391-1020. 1 hour in the books, which means that we got to go to the books to open up the other 2 hours, and we'll do that after the news on News Radio KDKA.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for mom.
Honey, I found the perfect place for my parents and us.
Where?
St. Barnabas. For us, the Woodlands Carriage Home Community. And for my parents, condominium-style living at the Village. My folks will love the Village. There's an indoor mall with shops, restaurants, and more. And we can relax, knowing they're safe and secure.
That's what I plan to do when we move to St. Barnabas. Relax.
Call 724-444-5568 or visit stbarnabascommunities.com.
Throughout Black History Month, the city of Pittsburgh celebrates the spirit and heroism of the Vachon family, which settled in Pittsburgh in 1829. A month-long display at the City County Building and online content explores the enduring legacy of these inspiring abolitionists and activists, whose impact continues to motivate contemporary movements for justice and equality. This celebration showcases one of the most important families in the city of Pittsburgh during the building of our nation. Learn what's happening in February at KDKA-radio.com.
Being diagnosed with leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, or one of over 100 other types of blood cancer makes people want more time to do the things they love. We are Blood Cancer United. We do the most for more people with blood cancer. Join us at bloodcancerunited.org.
The Colorectal Cancer Alliance wants you to know a lot of things in life are preventable.
Ooh, gas station sushi.
That's preventable. And even colon cancer can be preventable if you get screened. If you're 45 or older, talk to your doctor. Go to colorectalcancer.org to learn more.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Vicki Barker. Write it down in ice and fire. USA 2, Canada 1 in overtime.
I'm Kelly O'Grady in Milan, Italy, where we just witnessed history. Team USA men's hockey team wins the first gold medal in 46 years since that miracle on ice in 1980. We were inside the arena and cheers erupted. The arena was actually more full of Canadians than Americans, but my goodness, did they celebrate.
To this fan.
I work with Jack Hughes at a hockey program back in New Jersey. So to see him score that game-winning goal, I cried.
Overall, the United States set a record with 12 gold medals in Milan, its most ever in a Winter Olympics. It added 33 total medals, coming second only to Norway in the overall medal table. Nearly 30 million people in the nation's northeast bracing for another mega blizzard. New York City Mayor Mamdani.
Temperatures dropping into the 20s overnight will result in slippery streets, sidewalks, and extremely hazardous conditions across our city. Due to these factors, we are declaring a state of emergency and instituting a travel ban starting at 9 p.m. this evening and ending at 12 p.m. tomorrow.
Apparent U-turn on that Department of Homeland Security warning that TSA and global entry programs were being suspended. Here's CBS's Chris Van Cleve.
Just hours after the Department of Homeland Security announced it was suspending TSA PreCheck and global entry at U.S. Customs starting at 6 a.m. this morning due to the partial government shutdown impacting DHS, the agency appears to have backtracked. Flyers arriving at airports across the country found PreCheck lanes open and operating. And later Sunday, DHS confirmed, quote, at this time, TSA PreCheck remains operational with no change for the traveling public.
In Ukraine.
Russia has again targeted Ukrainian energy and rail infrastructure in its latest missile and drone attack. Emergency power cuts are in place in parts of Ukraine and teams are working to restore electricity. One man was killed and 4 children were injured in the Kiev region.
The BBC's Tom Dewsbury. Tuesday marks the 4th anniversary of the Russian invasion. Britain's version of the Oscars, the BAFTA ceremony, wrapping up in London.
What is the rendezvous point?
And one battle after another has nabbed 6 BAFTAs, including Best Film and Best Director for Paul Thomas Anderson, Best Supporting Actor for Sean Penn.
Speaking with people is sometimes difficult for me.
Well, tell me a story, then. Jessie Buckley won Best Leading Actress for Hamnet, which also won Outstanding British Film. British newcomer Robert Aramayo won Best Actor for I Swear About Tourette's. This is CBS News.
Go to the ends of the earth, half a world away. Reach for the stars.
If I take time to think, they might go get Brad.
On CBS, Sunday morning.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-265-7681. 800-265-7681. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-265-7681. 7681.
In the state of Maine, how a blunder-prone surgeon was allowed to keep practicing.
In 2017, Maine doctor Adam Darcy amputated a patient's big toe on their left foot instead of the one on their right foot. The State Board of Licensure of Podiatric Medicine reprimanded Darcy, put him on an 18-month probation, and required him to complete 6 hours of continuing education. But he was still allowed to operate. In 2024, Darcy performed surgery to repair a patient's Achilles tendon, again on the wrong foot. The Portland Press-Herald reports the licensure board recently revoked Darcy's surgical license permanently, but is letting him practice non-surgical medicine. Christopher Cruz, CBS News.
And finally, police in Britain continue to search Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's former home on the grounds of Windsor Castle. The former prince was freed 12 hours after his Thursday arrest on suspicion of misconduct in public office dating from his time as a UK trade envoy. I'm Vicki.
Jen, I didn't know. The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
This afternoon, we'll see snow with a high of 33. It continues through tonight. Total accumulation by tomorrow, 1 to 3 inches. Low tonight, 27. Tomorrow's high, 32. Tuesday with clouds, 33. For AccuWeather, I'm Bill Degger, 100.1 FM at AM 1020 KDKA.
The following is an editorial by KDKA Radio Senior Vice President Market Manager Michael Spacciapoli.
Steelers fans who followed the team in the 70s know well the role Mike Wagner played in the Steel Curtain defense. His death is a reminder of the Steelers' rise from perennial losers to 6-time Super Bowl champions. The years Wagner was a key player in the Steelers' transformation is one part of NFL Film's documentary about Pittsburgh called The Football Town. The production exploring Western Pennsylvania's rich football heritage premieres next weekend at the Kamen Science Center. It will show how Pittsburgh's work ethic and community spirit are embedded in its football identity. Some call the city a cradle of the game. This is where professional football was born. It is where Pitt started playing college football in 1889. The same university is launching the first event at Arts Landing during draft week in April. The Pitt Block Party will include an interactive football museum featuring Panther legends and their pathway to the pros. The Block Party is just one event in the city's moment in the national spotlight. What better place could there be for the NFL's biggest preseason event? The fit is perfect for Pittsburgh.
This has been an editorial by KDKA Radio Senior Vice President Market Manager Michael Spacciapoli. To view a transcript, go to kdkaradio.com.
All right, Mike, please continue with your thought, kind sir.
Yeah, I was just thinking on hold, Lenny, you know who else died this past week? Bill Mazeroski.
Yep, indeed.
What a legend for, like, Pittsburgh Pirates baseball. And I was just thinking about that, like, I don't know if you ever got a chance to meet him or anything, but wow, that was another.
No, I didn't get a chance to meet Maz. I think I was in a civic event with the late Mike Wagner once.
Yeah.
I had a chance to meet him, Franco Harris, Andy Russell, Mel Blount, Lynn Swan. Lynn Swan was interesting. I'm trying to think of who else. As far as 70s Steelers, now I mean I've met Jerome Bettis and a few others modern day, but the 70s Steelers, Rocky Blyer. Now I'm just playing trivia with myself. I apologize, Mike. Go right ahead.
You're good. I'll just get to my comment on tariffs, and I'll hop off, let some other people get on. One thing I was going to bring up. So Gavin Newsom came out. I'm sure you heard about this, but he is demanding that Trump issue refunds for every tariff cost imposed on the American people. And, this is kind of interesting because you may recall Trump, I believe last year, he said he raised the idea of sending out the $1,700
tariff
check
refund rebates. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And, I don't think Trump is too happy. I mean, you brought up the C-SPAN call. I listened to that call earlier, actually. It does sound like an imposter to me personally. It doesn't actually sound like Trump, but, obviously if it is an imposter, somebody did their homework. I mean, they found out he used that pseudonym calling into other shows in the past. But yeah, not to get too in the weeds, but like, what do you think about that idea of Gavin Newsom raising that about Trump issuing refunds based off, I guess, the Supreme Court's deeming of the tariffs being unconstitutional, that Trump is able to just blanketly issue them, even though he's still issuing the 15% blanket tariff. I guess he's using a clause from a older law that I forget the name of it, but allows him to still enact those tariffs. But But yeah, I mean, what are your overall kind of thoughts on that?
I mean, Mike, first of all, I appreciate your phone call. Second of all, I think that, number one, this is why people love injunctions. Because let's just be honest, once the government has your money, it's a lot harder to get it back than it is to tell them to stop. Let's make sure you're allowed to do this. I can see the merits of what he's saying, especially if Newsom, as a political and even governing ploy, says, hey, you said you were going to give them rebate checks anyway. Instead of it being $1,700 or $2,000, just give the American people a cut of all that money. Maybe it should be $3,500 or $4,000. Now, of course, there are concerns with that. The whole reason why inflation went up during COVID, which, by the way, COVID happened on the Trump watch, they blame Biden for the inflation. They don't ever talk about why the inflation went up in the first place, which was COVID. And what happened during COVID? Free money was printed and then put into the system, which then prompted inflation that hit us for a while, with the alternative being when all the jobs went away, people wouldn't have any money to buy goods and services, and then you'd have mass panic. That said, why do I bring that up? Less to talk about Trump and Biden around 2020. More to talk about if you take another round of giving a whole bunch of Americans all a decent amount of money, what might that do to an economy that had already been slowing down, job creation already slowing down, and inflation still being higher in its growth than the growth of American wages on average? That's something to consider. Now, I'm not saying that the government took the money by way of tariffs that have been deemed illegal and, too bad, so sad. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that is a real consequence that has to be thought through. How do you do this in a way that doesn't hit the economy again? The tariffs have not worked. And then the double whammy is now you're going to turn around and the tariffs didn't work to bring American jobs back. I mean, literally. And I was just writing this down over the break, by the way. And Eric, I'll get to you in just a second. I just want to get to the rest of Mike's answer. We added less than 200,000 jobs all of last year. That's less than 16,000 jobs a month. That would be great for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, not the United States of America. So you have that, what I previously said about inflation. You get mixed signals in regards to the consumer confidence. We heard during the holiday season, people were spending more money and getting less in goods and services with the amounts that they're spending. Again, inflation. Do you really want to throw more money into the economy? Especially at a time when President Trump wants the Fed to cut the rate more and more and more. That is not going to happen if you dump more money into the economy because there's a bunch of rebate checks going out again. But it's one heck of a pickle that this has become since Liberation Day. 866-391-1020. Going back to the phones. Erica, thank you for your patience. You're on KDKA. Erica, thank you for your patience.
Oh, thank you. Sorry about that. I just want...
Erica, you're breaking up. Give me a call back. I will certainly take your phone call, but you're breaking up. So yeah, that's interesting about the tariffs. And I do want to get to that in a little bit. And again, if you want to call about it now, 866-391-1020, that's fine. Because obviously we know about the decision at the end of the week. And although the jobs numbers came out last week, what people missed, they may have heard about the job numbers from January, I think it was 131,000, and said, yes, that's not bad. Yeah. Except for the fact that they revised every month from 2025. Every month. And the revisions collectively went down. 181,000 jobs added for the whole year. Roughly 16,000, actually under 16,000 jobs. It's more like 15,100 jobs a month for the whole year of 2025. At a time where we were adding 160,000 jobs a month during the quote-unquote worst economy ever under Joe Biden. It was 121,000 jobs a month. In 2023, it was 209,000 jobs a month. And we won't count 2022 or 2021. Those are COVID jobs coming back, and that kind of makes it look like he's really rocking them and socking them. Same with, 2021. This is like trying to hold 2020 totally against Trump, because it's not like Trump was the only one that said that COVID wasn't going to be a big deal. People forget that the Democrats were more concerned about impeaching Trump than they were about being proactive with COVID. Bill de Blasio, who was mayor of New York City, and Nancy Pelosi of California, two huge regions, obviously one a city, and California, she's from San Francisco, but you'll get where I'm going in a second. Huge Asian American populations, huge ties to Chinese New Year and the like. Both said everything's going to be okay. Go out there and enjoy Chinese New Year. Particularly the one from California, who at the time was Speaker of the House. Knowing that it was coming, former North Carolina Senator Richard Burr said one thing publicly and privately told people, listen, this is going to be a big deal. That came to light afterwards. So I say all that to say I don't look at those numbers and hold good or bad or make it seem that Trump is completely at fault for COVID. Because a lot of people didn't pipe up then. But I say all that to say this. The numbers were a lot better before Liberation Day, before the tariffs, before the hatchet and not a scalpel was used to perform quote-unquote surgery on the economy. So I just put that out there. 866-391-1020. I'll get back to the tariffs. I want to get to something that did come up that the bishop brought up earlier. But I'll get to that after the break here on News Radio KDKA.
Your source for the AccuWeather forecast. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
Hey, I'm Sam.
And I'm Calvin.
With Cousins Roofing, Siding, and Decks. You ever wait way too long for a haircut and finally get one and think, why didn't I do that months ago?
Oh, yeah. Suddenly you're walking taller, smiling bigger, and feeling like a new person.
That's exactly what it feels like when you finally replace that old roof or deck. You don't realize how bad it looked or how much better it could be until it's done.
And when it is, your whole house feels fresh again.
Give your home that clean-cut confidence with a new deck, roof, or siding project.
Call the Cousins.
Call the Cousins.
Heart disease is the leading cause of death in the United States. So when it comes to your heart, there's no room for compromise. At UPMC Heart and Vascular Institute, innovation, technology, and world-class expertise come together to treat the most complex heart cases, redefining what's possible for patients who need it most. Getting your heart checked can save your life. Schedule your appointment with the region's leader at upmc.com/heart.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township, Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks Vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
And nobody better not dare make a 420 joke. We don't do that kind of stuff around here, Buster. Just say no. Anywho, back to... kind of ties into Mexican drug cartels, 420, and just say no. Anywho, but that said, Erica, let's try again. You're on KDK.
Okay, I'm trying again. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I just wanted to add about when that woman commented about the Mexican war or the drug, whatever is going on over there. Like, how come it's not even being broadcasted on our news stations? Is this not...
Actually, that's why I said I would vet it. And I changed the channel here in the studio, and sure enough, they are now talking about it on CNN. It's not breaking news. They're more talking about the snow coming to New York City than they are about that. But I just did see a segment talking about how they took out that drug lord and how there's a response to it by their cohorts or his cohort.
As soon as she mentioned it, I popped up open Facebook to take a look and see what was going on, and that was the first feed on my page, and it was amazing that no one's reporting on actual news anymore. It's hard nowadays to actually find out about what's going on in the world because no one's reporting what I don't know. They're not reporting actual news. It's all, I feel, it's cover up for things. But
well, it's not necessarily a cover up for things, Erica. A lot of it, most of it, is collectively we have told them we don't care about this. Collectively, we have said we're more interested in hearing about, was it really Trump that called into C-SPAN or not? We're more concerned about hearing about New York City and Philadelphia getting slammed with more snow. We're more concerned about the U.S. hockey team winning a gold medal for the first time in 46 years. We're more concerned about is Trump going to tell off the Supreme Court on Tuesday, even though it's 48 hours away? That's what we have told media outlets we're more concerned with. And we have then said, and if you don't talk about the bickering, we're not going to watch your product, which means that your advertising rates go down, which means that you have less revenue, which means you got to lay off people. So if you have a business model, you got to compete with that. And so what do? They feed the beast, unfortunately. Now, to your point, this could be a big deal because, again, it's not like there are not drug cartels running around the United States. And if somebody wanted to retaliate, again, as I continuously say about domestic terrorism, they're not going to go to New York City. They're going to do something in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. They're going to do something in, Elmira, New York. They're going to do something in Hazleton, Pennsylvania, where a little subset of their group runs the town, and they're going to make a statement. So they go to, a local place and they act out. That's what we need to be mindful of in regards to understanding how world news may affect us or impact us locally.
I shouldn't have to turn on the radio. I mean, it's great to hear your voice and listen to what people say, but I should be able to depend on the news to get me more accurate information than social media. I understand what you mean about the business, the money side of things, the advertising, their funds, but it's sad that we've gotten to this point that based on your clicks, that's what people are going to advertise nowadays.
Yeah.
It's not fair to the rest of the people that actually want to know what's going on.
Erica, I agree with you, but I will also tell you that that's kind of been our whole model in America these days, which is unfortunate. We've made a television celebrity with a very mixed, background in regards to business success. We've made this individual president twice. We took a junior senator that was as eloquent as he could be, was literally only in the Senate for 2 years before he was running for president. He was in the Senate for 2 years before he was running for president, and he won. And I'm not saying that Obama was a bad president. I'm not saying that Trump was a bad president. I'm just saying if you look at these things and you start saying, how did Kim Kardashian get so famous? Go back to her origin story. How do people make $5 million a year on YouTube doing ridiculous things? Not like, doing a radio show on YouTube is not ridiculous, but I digress. I mean, These are things that you have to think about. How are people being thought as being thought leaders, driving policy? And, 5 years ago, they were telling bad jokes at a bar in some backwoods place in like rural California. And now they're an influencer that has audience with the president? Come on. I mean, that's the whole cultural model right now. And it's no wonder that a lot of things are off the rails. Nobody really wants to focus on statesmanship. Nobody wants to focus on facts, to your point. Nobody wants to report on news. Nobody wants to integrate it all together and say, what's in it for me? And nobody wants to solve it. They just want to discuss it and complain about it. And when that's your model, it's harder to find truth on a regular basis, unfortunately.
That's sad. That's really sad. Even in newspaper, that's all we have now. The newspapers are gone. Well, one of them.
Yeah.
One of the newspapers are gone now. How are people supposed to actually know what's really going on with all the fake news, all the AI? What do we rely on?
I will answer this and say thank you for your call, Erica. Here's the answer to it. 1, as a Christian, I would say 1, pray. Pray for discernment regularly. 2, use critical thinking and bounce the same story off of multiple outlets. 3, we have to teach our kids, and we have to do it ourselves. We have to crack open history books and contextualize what's going on contemporarily. And 4, we have to be engaged in order to influence the current events so that we can see what's going on and we can do things as a result versus just being told what's going on and shrugging our shoulders one way or another. I think if we take those approaches, we can distill things a lot faster, a lot better, and a lot more truthfully. And I think that we can get the answers that we need and ideally some solutions that we need. But Erica, as always, as well as everybody else, I appreciate your phone call. It's halftime. I'm going into the locker room. We're going to news. We're coming back. We're going back to the phone lines at 866-391-1020. And we're going to rock them and sock them for another 90 minutes on the one and only News Radio KDKA.
Premium roofing starts with a team you can count on. Call the Genius Choice in Roofing, Home Genius Exteriors, where you get a dedicated project team with certified installers. Right now, get 50% off roofing materials, plus no interest and no payments till 2027. Call Home Genius Exteriors now at 855-UR-GENIUS to schedule your free, no-obligation roof and attic inspection. That's 855, the letter U, the letter R, Genius. Home Genius Exteriors, a different experience. See website for details.
Hi, News Radio KDK's Paul Alexander with some really good news. If you're dreaming about a getaway that feels truly refreshing, this September it's time to discover Arizona with me for a 5-day trip based in beautiful, scenic Flagstaff. From there, we'll take in the stunning red rocks of Sedona, stand in awe of the Grand Canyon, and relax along the clear blue waters of Lake Powell. It's a perfect mix of natural beauty, easy adventure, and unforgettable views, all at the best time of the year, with fewer crowds and comfortable temperatures. 5 days, incredible scenery, and memories we'll talk about long after we're home. This September date will fill quickly, so don't wait. Visit travelwithkdka.com for all the details and to reserve your spot on this unforgettable Arizona escape. Or you can call my friends at Cruise and Tour, 800-383-3131. That's 800-383-3131. Give Cruise and Tour a call. Or visit travelwithkdka.com to book your trip today.
Here's a tale of Linda trying to lose weight, but the med prices she found were all over the place.
Hidden fees and markups made her jaw drop low. Then she found GoodRx. Now she's in the know.
GLP-1 subscriptions FDA approved.
With clear upfront pricing.
And same-day pickup.
That's GoodRx, the no-nonsense way. Save time and money on prescriptions.
Get to goodrx.com/weight loss. GoodRx is not insurance.
Ah, the most beautiful time of year is upon us. Tax season. And TaxSlayer is here to help you file. We guarantee 100% accuracy and your maximum refund. Those are some good numbers. And you can trust me, because I'm a talking calculator. Did I mention TaxSlayer even has support from real U.S.-based humans? If you have any questions along the way, beat the rush and start for free today. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Being diagnosed with leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, or one of over 100 other types of blood cancer makes people want more time to do the things they love. We are Blood Cancer United. We do the most for more people with blood cancer. Join us at bloodcancerunited.org.
You can tell I was excited. I lost my voice.
Jack Hughes scored the winning goal in overtime, beating Canada 2-1. The U.S. going home with 12 golds, its best ever Winter Olympics. There are blizzard warnings in New York City, New Jersey, and in Boston, where Mayor Michelle Wu warns.
Boston is looking to face down yet another winter storm this season, and one that is looking like it will be of historic proportions.
Up to 2 feet of snow is possible. And TSA says its pre-check program is operating, despite Homeland Security saying earlier the service was suspended due to the partial government shutdown. Instead, CBS's Chris Van Cleve says,
as staffing constraints arise, TSA will evaluate on a case-by-case basis and adjust operations accordingly. Multiple DHS sources also tell CBS News the same is true for global entry.
CBS News Brief, I'm Vicki Barker.
How about some fantastic February savings at Coons Market? Isn't that right, Frank Tantisi?
Right, Rob. In our meat department, USDA Choice Boneless Chuck Shoulder Steaks or Roast for $6.49 a pound. In the produce department, Sunkist Cara Oranges, 8-pound bags, $5.99 each. In our deli, Eckrich Top Round Roast Beef is $7.99 a pound. And additional savings this week, selected varieties of Folgers Coffee, 22.6 to 25.9 ounce cans, $11.49 each.
Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition.
Here's the latest from the KDKA Community Message Board.
Obsessed with pizza? So are they at Slice on Broadway. The 2025 winner of World's Best Cheese Pizza Slice is right here in the Berg with 6 Pittsburgh locations, always serving delicious New York-style pizza, hoagies, and salads. Order yours today. Visit sliceonbroadway.com. It's the weekly program that keeps you current with the latest travel trends and vacation values. Listen to AAA's Talking Travel every Saturday morning at 11 on KDKA Radio. Looking for a unique night out in Pittsburgh? Don't miss Pop Couture, Fashion, Fame, and Obsession. It's a high-energy mix of dance, music, and jaw-dropping style, making its Heinz Hall debut Monday, April 20th. Part of Pittsburgh Earth Day's Ecolution Gala. Tickets on sale now at pittsburghearthday.org/ecolution.
Details at kdkaradio.com. When you call yourself the voice of Pittsburgh, you have to know when to not talk. Sometimes you just need to be the ears of Pittsburgh. Just listen. Listen to what you have to say. These are complicated and uncertain times. But when you need us, we are here for you. And we're listening. A trusted source that you can count on to be here. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
When a warrior faces adversity, he fights through it. He finds a way. Freedom isn't free. Rolling strong. Belief. Believe you can and you will.
Wheelchairs for Warriors provides mobility solutions to veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Join the mission and visit wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
When was the last time you watched your home movies?
Disasters strike unexpectedly. Every year, American families lose the one thing they'd run back into a burning building for, their family's memories. Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Adam. We started Legacy Box to help save your family's most important recorded moments so you don't have to worry.
Load Legacy Box with your old movies, film reels, and shoeboxes of photos.
We work our digitizing magic, converting those memories right to the cloud so they're safe and accessible forever.
It's fast, we always send your originals back, and it's done right here in the USA.
Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box. Better Homes and Garden, Real Simple, and Inc. magazine are all talking about Legacy Box.
New York Times columnist David Pogue says, have them digitized. I wish I'd done it sooner. Take action. Save your family's memories today with Legacy Box.
Go to legacybox.com/value to get an incredible 50% off your Legacy Box. That's legacybox.com/value for 50% off while supplies last. legacybox.com/value.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
A cloudy day awaits us today with more snow out there, high 33. It continues off and on tonight and tomorrow, accumulating 1 to 3 inches. 27 tonight, 32 tomorrow in clouds, and 33 Tuesday. For AccuWeather, I'm Bill Degger, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, it is chilly now over the weekend. Monday, I'll be back in. A little bit late start. We got warm weather baseball down in Florida. So catch me Monday after Pirate Baseball all the way till 6 o'clock. Colin Dunlap, KDK.
All right, going back to the phone lines, 866-391-1020. Going to Dick in Dayton. Dick, you're on KDK.
How you doing, buddy?
I am doing well, child of God. How are you?
Oh, good. I wanted to, I don't know if, down there by where the barge freight comes and perks down there. I happened to go with a friend of mine yesterday to Cincinnati, and we took, we had to go down there. It was a little place, but I noticed, don't you think the bridges on the Ohio and the Monongahela River and some of the train tracks should be, I'm talking about this infrastructure thing, Colin, you know what I mean? Don't you think we need to, because you go to these bridges, the trucks are just running and it just shakes when you go over them, Don't they need to get more consideration over these things? Because, even the tracks we went over were bad. What do you think about that?
I agree with you 100%. I actually had written something about this recently, talking about how much infrastructure around, and I started with Pittsburgh, but I mean, you can go around the nation and talk about the infrastructure that is woefully behind, whether it's the Pittsburgh metropolitan area, Western Pennsylvania, or the Rust Belt. There's a reason why we need kids getting through trade schools and universities so that we can have the engineers and the workers necessary to build up our infrastructure. The bottom line is AI can still drive a car. It's going to still have to drive a car over said bridge. Yeah. It's going to have to go underneath said trestle. The train could be driven by AI. It's still going to go over said railroad track. So that said, we're going to need people to build that back up. It creates jobs, it bolsters safety, and it allows for a vibrancy in your city or your region that's going to allow for jobs and self-sufficiency to be optimized. And so I agree with you 100%. Like I said, it's ironic. I had just looked at something that I had written just a little while ago, and it's still true.
Yeah. So nice to talk to you, buddy.
Thank you, kind sir. You have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. You have a great week as well, Dick. I look forward to catching up to you again soon. 866-391-1020. Going back to the phone lines, Gary in Hampton. You're on KDK.
Yes, can you hear me?
How are you doing today, sir?
Yeah, I had quite a conversation with Colin, and I followed up on that. I told him that I would. I'm 85 years old. I don't think in the box. I don't have a box. I go far left, far right. I researched most everything that I do, but without taking a word of anyone. So I have some facts for myself, which I can discuss. I went through 4 DMVs. I got the same answer. Oh, yeah, you're 93 years old. You can get a license, and so on and so forth. I actually cornered someone. She had some time, and I said, could we discuss that a little bit? And her answer was initially, well, that's the way it is. Okay, how about legislation? How about something to make it safer for drivers? And I see it myself. And it comes to mind where I said, boy, older people. I'm old. I'm young, actually. I go to the gym, I take care of myself and all that.
My dad does the same thing, and he's about your age. But go ahead.
Pardon me?
I said my dad does the same exact thing. He's about your age, too. So kudos to you for doing that.
Yeah, you need to be proactive. These days, we all judge for whatever reason. However, today it's become judgment. It's like when we see a video from Minnesota, when we see anything happening around us, it becomes judgment, and people criticize one another and so on and so forth. Let's drop the surnames. Let's call one another eye-to-eye Americans. I don't care where you're from. I'm a Dutch American. Okay, I was born and raised in Holland. I came over here when I was 15 years old. I've been here 70 years as a Yankee. I served in the service, NOM, so on and so forth. And that's enough about me. However, the lady at DMV said, well, we should have some legislation with regard to age. And I said, how about requiring people at the age of 70 with a little background to take a driver's test? And I welcome it. I'm a good driver. But I see many, many older drivers. They're not very good drivers, and that's not a criticism. It's a criticism, yes, and not that I'm so much better of a driver. However, we should have some idea of how these people drive.
You know who scares me?
What I'm saying?
You know who scares me on the road, Gary? I know of some 85 and 90-year-old drivers. My dad drives fine. I mean, he drives fine. In fact, he's usually one of the people telling the people 20 years younger than him to get out of the way. What are you doing? Beep.
Yeah.
My dad's horn, I don't think works on his car because he uses it so much. So that said, though the older drivers are annoying. Those aren't the drivers that scare me. The drivers that scare me are the 25 to 30-year-olds that think it's literally Daytona out there. Like, you do realize this is Pittsburgh. The roads are narrow. There's curves everywhere. There's hills everywhere. And there's either a bridge or a tunnel everywhere. There's a reason why we have so many accidents these days. It's not the 90-year-olds that are trying to speed into the Squirrel Hill tunnels at 90 miles an hour. It's the 24-year-old that might be on some substance, that is certainly looking at their phone. I am less annoyed with 85-year-old drivers going a little slow and having a little bad judgment than I am with the 27-year-old driver that's literally looking down at and I could see the glow of their phone on their face while I'm driving and saying, you're swerving all over the road, move before you get us all killed. If we're going to have the 85-year-olds do it every X amount of years, starting at 70, Gary, I would have everybody go through a driver's test once every 10 years. Because a lot of people don't know the rules. A lot of people go way too fast. They don't understand what 25 miles an hour really looks like because they've been going 50 and a 25 for like 25 years. And people that, quite honestly, are still driving distracted or high or sleepy. Those are things that get people killed too. So I hear what you're saying, but those aren't the ones I'm worried about. It's the people half my age, not the people twice my age.
I understand what you're saying, but those young people don't realize is that as you're going 30 miles over the speed limit, You are the one responsible for the other traffic, not the other way around.
Yep.
When someone sees you come down a hill 30, 40 miles an hour over the speed limit, they can't judge your speed. So consequently, you're responsible. When that person pulls out and you're cussing me or cutting me off and all that kind of stuff, no. It's your fault. It's your fault. You have to be responsible for the traffic because you're the one that's crazy enough to go that fast.
And Gary, I appreciate your phone call, and you're right, and they're usually not. I guarantee you, I'm going to go home on the Parkway East. I'm going to be going 70 miles an hour. And there's going to be at least one car that's going to go so fast past me, on the right-hand side no less, that my car is going to shake. And it's going to be very simple. If I'm going 70 and you zoom past me that fast and a busted Corolla, how fast are you going? 85, 90? It's not exactly 70 degrees and flat. And, Miami Beach roads and weather out there right now. Those are the folks that make me nervous. Those are the folks I look out for. I look in front of me and behind me all the time when I drive because those folks come out of nowhere. And it's getting worse. And again, Gary, I get your point. But those cats aren't 83. They're more like 33. And those are the ones that make me nervous. But I appreciate your phone call. 866-391-1020. Getting back to the phone lines after the break on News Radio KDKA.
We're only 60 days until the draft. Everything you need to know surrounding the draft is right here. It's brought to you by Bill Few Associates Wealth Management, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Honey, I found the perfect place for my parents and us.
Where?
St. Barnabas. For us, the Woodlands Carriage Home Community. And for my parents, condominium-style living at the Village. My folks will love the Village. There's an indoor mall with shops, restaurants, and more. And we can relax, knowing they're safe and secure.
That's what I plan to do when we move to St. Barnabas. Relax.
Call 724-444-5568 or visit stbarnabascommunities.com.
Having trouble keeping up with your electric bill? Duquesne Light Company can help customers manage costs through their Customer Assistance Program. Flexible payment plans, budget billing, rebates, and more. Duquesne Light realizes these are difficult times, and they are all committed to supporting our communities. Discover how you can save money and stay comfortable in your home year-round by visiting DuquesneLight.com/assistance. That's DuquesneLight.com/assistance.
Larry Richard for CertaPro Painters. For more than a decade, I've been working with CertaPro Painters doing great work for me, and now is the time. Get a free estimate, get on the schedule at the right price. You never have to wonder what's next with CertaPro Painters. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here in our community. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
Larry Older here. Let me share Brian's story from Alabama, my mom's home state. He tells us after taking Relief Factor for just 3 weeks, at least 90% of my pain is gone. My pain had started to limit me at work and at home, and now I'm amazed at how much relief I've gotten, end of quote. These are Brian's own words, and they speak volumes about what Relief Factor can do for you. I've told you about my buddy Tom, an avid golfer, out on the green almost every single day. He says without Relief Factor, he wouldn't be able to swing freely because of shoulder pain or back pain. But since taking it, he said he stayed active, comfortable, and confident in his swing. He is a scratch golfer. That's why I encourage you to try Relief Factor yourself and see what it can do for you. Don't wait. If you're dealing with daily pain, launch your 3-week quick start and see what Relief Factor can do for you. 800-4RELIEF, 800-4RELIEF, or go to ReliefFactor.com. That's ReliefFactor.com. How will it feel to be out of pain? 800-4RELIEF, ReliefFactor.com.
Think back to the last time you were in nature. What comes to mind? Hiking through a lush forest, floating on a lazy river, or perhaps watching a vibrant sunset on a beach full of glistening plastic bottles and food wrappers. Unfortunately, this isn't a joke. Here in the U.S., we generate the most plastic waste in the world, with 70% of it ending up in landfills. And by the time you're done listening to this ad, more than a dump truck's worth of plastic will have made it into the ocean. Plastic has become a useful part of our everyday lives, but it's polluting the air, water, and soil that all life needs to survive. This is a human problem that can be solved with human action. But it's going to take all of us, from individuals to businesses to governments and everyone in between. Help create a cleaner future for both people and nature. Visit wwf.earth/plastics.
SchultzFord.com, 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 SchultzFord.com.
And no, it's not summertime. Now, we were talking about drivers that go 2 miles an hour so everybody sees you, but it's not summertime. Again, if you don't know the lyrics, as one group used to say, they always play the music. This time they play the lyrics. I was giving you the lyrics because we only played the music. Yeah, boy. 866-391-1020. There's a lot of stuff I threw in there. Pay attention. I go quick. Pop culture bingo. You got to have your bingo card out. How many of you had the Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff and Chuck D and Flavor Flav on your bingo card? Probably not many of you. 866-391-1020, which is why you can only play pop culture bingo here on Sundays with me. Not that you would want to any other place, but I offer it as a service from the kindness of my heart. Ralph in Bloomfield, you're on KDK.
Hey there. So I'm catching on late here in the past 15, 20 minutes. Have you had any discussion, and if I'm catching up late, on President Trump, Obama, and the aliens or UFOs? I'm curious.
No, we haven't talked about it as a topic. I did allude to it going into a commercial break because, again, just why not? We throw out random rap song lyrics. Why not talk about President Obama talking about aliens on a podcast? So, I mean, it's just kind of what I did. So go right ahead.
Yeah. So I have no idea what's up with it, but it seems like there's been a slow leak of something that's up. What that is, if it's little green men or this is just me, I would think it's more if things are here, they would be probes because you could send them through space for infinite time with no damage, meaning like, we have water and air, all those things. You can send them here, they go back and forth or whatever. I wonder if that will be in the State of the Union address or some allusion to it. Here's
the question, Ralph. Here's what you really mean to say. You're like, did they write it in the speech that's going to be in the teleprompter? Yes, or are we going to hear about it anyway? That's where if you're a bookie, that's where you put your money. It's over under. It's in the speech in the teleprompter versus you're going to hear about it because somebody said something about national security and the Space Force, and then from there he riffed it from the Space Force to talk about even President Obama knows that I was correct to create a Space Force because there are things out there. I mean, I can't say because it's classified because Area 51. I'm the only president that they've ever told about Area 51. They didn't even tell Obama until after he left, but I told them to tell Obama after he left because they told me, because I didn't want him to be out of the loop because I didn't think that was right. Does that sound about what you might hear on Tuesday night?
Probably some version of that.
There you go.
Will be, yeah. So I don't doubt that at all. Some version of it may be true, but does it end up being a nothing burger like the JFK files? Everybody forgot about that. That was like a nothing. Right? So, like, when those things got all released, so we'll see what happens. But I was curious to see what you thought about it, and then, maybe subsequently some other callers, too.
I think, Ralph, and I will say this, and again, I appreciate your call. I think, number one, President Obama got a little loosey-goosey on the podcast. I think he said it and realized, I would I'm curious about this. I'm curious as to whether or not they went live to tape. So if it was a live stream, tune into my podcast, special guest, the 44th President of the United States, and they went live at 12 and then they recorded it. Once it's out there, it's out there. Now, if they recorded it and they let it go out anyway, then I go, okay, A, you knew what you were saying, and it was recorded, and you didn't ask them to edit it. That's a curiosity point. I'm not curious enough to go research that, but it is something to be mindful of. I do think, number one, President Obama said something and then realized, I'm talking like a private citizen because I am technically a private citizen. But are you really a private citizen once you're the President of the United States? No, you're not. I think he just kind of stepped in it. That's number one. Number two, and I'll get to the phone calls after the break. I don't want to get anybody on. I don't like doing lightning rounds when I don't have to because we have one more hour. So hang tight. David, Lee, Luciano, I see you. Here's the other thing. I think that the Trump administration, almost since day one of 2017, has enjoyed having distractions to get in the way of things that pull away from things that people are not happy about. We're not talking about job creation in America because we're talking about Iran. We're not even talking about Venezuela. We literally have people that think it's a good idea to make Cuba a state. They don't want to make Puerto Rico a state. They literally were just complaining about Bad Bunny. He's not American. Grr. Kid Rock. Woohoo! Go America. I mean, we just went through that. And now we're going to pivot from a place that actually is American and go to a place that's been communist for 70 years? Well, the resources, and we should. When did we go back to imperialistic 1892 America? Why don't we just go catch up with, the Ottoman Empire in Belgium and go cut up Africa again? The thing is, stuff like the JFK files and aliens gets away from the Epstein files and things like, wow, we used to be a constitutional republic that respected Americans' rights on streets in places such as Minneapolis, Minnesota. We don't do that anymore. We used to be a force for good around the world and made sure that sovereign nations had their borders protected. We don't do that in Ukraine, and we don't do that in South America anymore. Huh. What do? We talk about little green men. That's the issue, Ralph. Talking about little green men like it's a Bugs Bunny cartoon. I like the dog, though. He's kind of cool. We're Martin the Martian. Again, go look it up. Versus things that we should be concerned about while jobs are becoming more and more scarce. And many of our allies don't know what to make of us anymore. That's what we're being distracted from. But we'll talk about it on the other side of the news on News Radio KDKA.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for mom.
Larry Older here. One of the most rewarding parts of sharing Relief Factor with you is hearing real stories like that of Sandra. She tells us, I've been hearing about Relief Factor on the radio for a couple of years, and I finally decided to try it because nothing else was helping my back pain. I know the feeling. With a 3-week quick start, she said, I went for it. Now I feel like a new person. That's Sandra's own words, and it's so gratifying to hear. I've told you about my brother Kirk, having difficulty going up and down the stairs in the morning. He wouldn't listen to me. I told him to take Relief Factor. He finally did. Began moving better, feeling stronger. Too bad he didn't listen earlier. Try it for yourself. The 3-week quick start. And see how Relief Factor could be your game changer, too. It is only $19.95. Think about it. Do the math. Less than $1 a day. So, call 800-4RELIEF. That's 800, the number 4RELIEF, or go to relieffactor.com, all one word, relieffactor.com. How will it feel to be out of pain? 800-4RELIEF, relieffactor.com.
Hey, you. Yes, you. Close your eyes and picture it. you at your ideal weight. You feel lighter, healthier, unstoppable. Your energy is through the roof, your confidence is soaring, and the mirror, it finally reflects the real you. I'm Dr. Bridget Chufo, and I can make that vision a reality. With weight loss therapy, supplements, and even weight loss shots, it's about you. With the right guidance and motivation, we will stay on track. Just call me at 1-800-900-THIN and be the real you.
100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA, covered by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 platinum roofing company. Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by JTV.com.
I'm Vicki Barker. Americans in Mexico warned to beware after Mexican forces killed the man known as El Mencho, the feared leader of the Jalisco New Generation drug cartel, a man with a U.S. price on his head. CBS's Karen Hua reports from Mexico City on this fast-moving story.
El Mencho's killing set off a domino effect of violence by the cartel. Several hours of roadblocks with burning vehicles in Jalisco and other states nearby. The Jalisco governor, Pablo Lemus Navarro, activated a code red, which indicates a state of emergency. Several airlines have also temporarily suspended operations at the Puerto Vallarta airport and other surrounding airports. The U.S. State Department has released a security alert advising American citizens in those several Mexican states to shelter in place.
It's coming. Another major blizzard in the nation's northeast. From Boston, WBZ's Paul Burton has more.
Paul Ventura drives a loader and this salt truck. Straight. He's gearing up for another marathon workday.
As you get older, it gets a lot tougher. You get drained. You get really drained. It takes a toll on you.
And with many streets already blocked with snow, residents say they're having a tough time finding a place to put fresh snow.
Up to 2 feet of snow expected in some places and winds up to 70 miles per hour. Team USA heading home from the Winter Olympics with heads held high, capped by today's stunning 2-1 overtime victory against Canada in ice hockey. CBS's Kelly O'Grady was there.
History was made tonight. We talked to fans outside the stadium afterwards. Obviously, a lot of sad Canadians, though many said they'll be back in 2030, and some elated Americans. What a way to end this Winter Games with Team USA on top, first time in 46 years. Kelly O'Grady, CBS News, Milan.
The USA going home with 12 medals. That's gold, that is, their most ever for a Winter Games. In Florida, the FBI is leading the investigation into last night's fatal shooting of an intruder at the gates of Mar-a-Lago. Secret Service agents and police opened fire when, they say, the man raised his shotgun. Here's CBS's Christian Benavides.
The shooting happened just inside a secure perimeter at the property at the front gate of the state. The FBI is asking people who live near Mar-a-Lago to look over their surveillance camera footage for anything suspicious.
The president and first lady were at the White House. Nobody else was injured in the incident. The dead gunman was reportedly a 21-year-old North Carolina man whose family reported him missing yesterday. This is CBS News.
Looking for spring jewelry looks? Find them at Jewelry Television. New customers get $20 off purchases of $99 or more at JTV.com.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-265 800-265-7681. 800-265-7681. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-265-7681. 1.
New numbers are out on how we're dining out.
Dining out research from Bank of America Institute begins with the good news.
Restaurant spending is doing pretty solid.
However, recently, says Institute economist Taylor Bowley,
consumers are becoming pickier eaters. We're seeing there's bigger tabs, but there's fewer trips to restaurants.
That's because prices are up 30% from pre-pandemic levels, and diners are cutting back on fast food restaurants.
Lower income household spending is starting to moderate, where higher income households are really picking up.
Stephen Kaufman, CBS News.
And finally, Britain's version of the Oscars, the BAFTAs, have wrapped up.
This is the end of the line, huh?
And one battle after another has nabbed 6 BAFTAs, including Best Film and Best Director for Paul Thomas Anderson, Best Supporting Actor for Sean Penn. Jessie Buckley won Best Leading Actress for Hamnet, which also won Outstanding British.
Jen. The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Blustery and cold tonight and tomorrow with intermittent snow and flurries. There will be a coating to an inch or so of accumulation. Watch for slippery spots out there. Down to 27 tonight, up to 32 tomorrow. And mostly cloudy Tuesday, high 33. We're AccuWeather. I'm John Feerick, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
All right, going to 6 o'clock. It's kind of my new mandate. Usually it will be 2 to 6. Today it was 3 to 6. But notice that they both end at 6. Ergo, I got one more hour. 866-391-1020. I will stay with the Little Green Men theme for 100, Alex, and I will go to Lee in Elwood City. Lee, you are now on KDKA.
Hey, Lenny, I'm a simple man. I hear someone talking about aliens. I call in. I'm sorry.
That's all right. You know, it's the stick. It's what we do. It's how to be sticky. Let me see. Talking about real issues people don't want to talk about. Let me talk about conspiracy theories, aliens, and then boom, phone lines light up. Go ahead.
I've called you before on real issues, but
I know I'm being silly. Don't mind me.
I know. I saw this timeline that Seth Meyers said, I don't know, maybe
I saw it.
Yeah, a couple months back, he said one more Epstein file release, and Trump will say there's UFOs, right?
I saw it. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my goodness. And it's one of those crazy things that if somebody, again, you know, if back when 30 Rock was on NBC, if somebody wrote a script for 30 Rock and said, we're going to make an episode about this, people were like, that's too unrealistic. One, you made Donald Trump the president. 2, you had him talking about aliens. And 3, you got him elected twice. No, get out of here with that. And here we sit.
30 Rock was a great show, and Tracy Morgan has a new show coming out on Peacock, I guess.
The fall and rise of Reggie Dinkins. Yes.
Yeah, I got to watch it. He's great.
Yeah, I think I saw like the little primer episode. Basically, he was on the path to being a Hall of Fame football player, and then he got busted for betting on one of his own games, a la Pete Rose. Yeah.
Yeah, sports betting, but. Hey, I resent the last caller. He called them little green men. They're grays. They're called grays, the aliens, right?
Now, Lee, here we go. So now you're going to get like 7 more phone calls on my board because I called them little green men, and you're correcting me and said, no, they're grays. They're grays. Have you not seen the History Channel, The Unexplained? Which tells you how much television I watch when I can literally list a show that talks about aliens. I digress. You're going to get more phone calls now on these airwaves on UFOs and aliens and not about the Epstein files.
Lenny, this would be a great time for Art Bell to be alive, remember?
Yes. And by the way, no sooner you say that, I look up and literally they're doing the commercial for the fall and rise of Reggie Dinkins, which, by the way, as soon as you say, I'm looking at it right now on one of the screens here. And by the way, the PR firm that's trying to bring about the rise of Reggie Dinkins is freaking, Daniel Radcliffe, i.e. Harry Potter. So it's like Harry Potter is your PR documentarian. Have fun with that.
You got to hand that dude something for not going the route of other child actors.
You know what? And Lee, I appreciate your phone call. I'm gonna let you go with that. I mean, it is sad. I'm a Gen Xer. I grew up with Data Plato. And when you think about Dead at 33, you think about Gary Coleman, a security guard. Gary Coleman made a lot of. Look, when they make, and I'll get to the phone call. I'll get to you, David, in just a second. When they make a cartoon about you. Gary Coleman had a cartoon called The Gary Coleman Show where he was an angel. So the Littlest Angel story they took in 1985, 4, somewhere in there. And they gave him a show. When you have a cartoon about you, other than maybe Wile E. Coyote or Elmer J. Fudd, there's a billionaire joke in there. I'm leaving it alone. If you have a cartoon about you, you're the Harlem Globetrotters, and you have a cartoon about you, you need to be able to shoot a foul shot until you're 90. The end. Because there's a cartoon about you being a Harlem Globetrotter. So to your point, there are some child actors that they're great until 15, and then if you got bad parents and you have bad management and your voice isn't, cute and cuddly anymore, and you start talking like this, and you have some facial hair, doesn't always work out your way. So I get your point, Lee. Thank you for your phone call. David in San Francisco. Are you calling about the Little Green Men / Because you're on KDKA.
No, actually, I would say that I'm calling about the dirty little SOBs that are behind the scenes that are causing this to happen. Of course, you might think of them as Project 2025, but I was listening to another show earlier today, and they were talking about Plato warning the future about oligarchs, and that oligarchs are basically the super rich running the country, and they're in such isolation. It's as if, he's 400 years before Christ. The super rich were living in their towers and never came down to see how the real people lived, and they were still making pronouncements demanding that we live up to some fake standards. And the idea of being able to tax the rich, to be able to take some of that money away from them so that they can't make bad ideas come to pass. The super rich are the ones that are making sure that we've got junk food instead of real food. They're the ones that are saying that it's too expensive to allow, women to have good health care. And so many kids are born with birth defects.
It's not, well, hold on. There's two things to this. Number one, it's not all the super rich. It's the super rich in certain industries that have a monopolistic control over certain industries that may be making those decisions, which is different than the super rich because there are some super rich that are donating to push back and to create things and make them better. Number two, there's always this back and forth of if I earned my money honestly. Now, there are some people that were bequeathed wealth and then they just continue to make wealth. I get that. I understand that. But if you made your money, quote unquote, the good old-fashioned way, which the good old-fashioned way is inheriting it, but I digress. If you earned your money, does the government have a right to just take more of it from you just because you have more of it? I'd rather that individual, idealistically, I'd rather that individual invest, donate, and build of their own volition versus me saying I'm going to take it by way of the government, because once the government takes it, it doesn't even go to things that you say it's going to go to. I'm going to tax people a higher rate for gasoline in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania in order to fix the roads. Now, David, I don't know when the last time you've driven on a road in Western Pennsylvania has been, but I assure you that they're not pristine. I've gone to poorer states that have less tax revenue and less of a population, and the roads are amazing, versus one of the only only states in the union with one of the highest gas taxes that you can imagine, quote unquote, for the roads over the last 15 years. So,
yeah, well, that said, the real problem here is that in the old days there were bond issues. You know, if you were a rich guy and you wanted to make sure that your county hospital was a good one, you would buy a bond issue, or you'd help put together a bond issue for that hospital, and you would only maybe get 0.5% interest, on the bonds. But you wouldn't have to pay taxes for the biggest amount, for what you put into the local bond issue. So you would get a tax rebate for investing locally in the roads or the libraries or the school systems. But ever since Nixon, let's say, the interest rates have been going higher and higher and higher and higher, and nobody wants to invest in local bond issues because you can get a better rate of return on the stock market or on fly-by-night schemes. So the idea that the super rich even have the option of doing bond issues is right out the sky. And the Chinese, of course,
but hold on. But part of that, too, David, is the fact that, the flip side of that is if you had the super rich investing in that, and let's say the super rich were, for example, responsible for fixing the roads in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania because the gas tax doesn't work, let's say, and then they decided to make it a toll road in order to get their money back faster. There would be pitchforks in the streets. No,
I agree.
Well, and they would be on the same streets that they just got done. They just got repaved.
I agree, and that we could talk about the options plus the intentional sabotage for hours. But I put down with the producer that I was interested in the influencers angle. And when you start looking at oligarchs, and I'll describe, say, for example, Howard Hughes. He was an example of less than 50 years ago. He was super rich, but he had scammers that moved in on him and became his, director of operations. And he kept him isolated for years, decades. Might even gotten him hooked on heroin, just so that Howard Hughes would never know how his own money was being spent. And then those influencers, a guy named Robert Mayhew, got stealing Howard Hughes's money and putting it into dirty projects. And that actually, I think that actually created the opportunity for Paul Manafort and Roger Stone to get started selling their influence to dictatorships around the world. And that led to where we are today because Roger Stone...
Well, hold on, David. I appreciate where you're going with that. I appreciate your call, get other callers. But the truth of the matter is, selling influence has been around for quite some time, and people dibble-daddling because of their influence has been around for quite some time. That it's not just Trump. Literally, we're in the Iranian situation that we're in because of Kermit Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt's son, from 75 years ago. Democrat, or he was a Republican, but also related to FDR, who was a Democrat. So what does that make him? A Republican? No. The bottom line is people with means have been doing this for a very long time. The form of government that we have is one of the best to try to push back against that. But as long as you have human beings, you have free will. And as long as you have human beings and free will, you're going to have at least one human being that uses their free will for ill-gotten gain and wickedness. It's just, that is the essence of humanity. And that ain't changing anytime soon. Which is why in our democratic republic, you're supposed to have different factions pulling against each other to get things more centralized and balanced as a way to push back against that happening. But I get where you're going. Appreciate your calls always, David. Be safe out there in San Francisco. Ross, Luciano, Anthony, Joanne. After the break, I promise. Promise. Pinky swear promise? I do pinky swear promise. On News Radio KDKA.
News, weather, traffic, and business every day. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
Time now for a Black History Month Spotlight.
Today we honor Layla Edwards, a native of Cleveland Heights, Ohio. Edwards played a crucial role in Team USA's victory at the 2026 Winter Olympics, becoming the first Black American woman to win a gold medal in women's hockey as the U.S. defeated Canada in overtime. She also made history as the first Black woman to represent the United States in Olympic women's hockey. Edwards has spoken about facing microaggressions growing up in the sport, even being told to play basketball instead of hockey. But her father put her on skates at age 3 and helped fuel her dream. She also has a Pittsburgh connection, playing for the Pittsburgh Penguins Elite 12U team. From the rinks of Western Pennsylvania to Olympic gold, Layla Edwards is proof that perseverance breaks barriers, and today we celebrate her historic achievements.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Hall and Museum recognizes Pennsylvania's combat veterans who have received medals for gallantry. With this Hall of Valor moment, here's the Education Director of Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Hall and Museum, Tim Neff.
Army Corporal Stanley P. Klapkowski of Allegheny County was awarded the Silver Star for gallantry in action in France on the 8th of August, 1944. Corporal Klapkowski was the gunner in the lead tank, which came suddenly upon 12 vehicles towing anti-aircraft weapons. His tank swung rapidly into action, taking the enemy vehicles under fire by surprise. The courageous action and excellent gunnery of Corporal Klapkowski quickly knocked out the enemy guns and destroyed all 12 of the vehicles with only 1 round for each. His expert gunnery and courage prevented the escape of the enemy convoy, enabling our troops to bypass the position and cut off the retreat of the enemy forces.
Soldiers and Sailors Memorial reflects the valor and heroism that shaped this great country. Consider a tax-deductible donation. Visit soldiersandsailorshall.org for more information.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
Pittsburgh's 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, going back to the phone lines, 866-391-1020. Luciano, you're on KDK.
Thank you, Lenny, for taking my call. I listen to you. I don't often agree with you, but I listen to you, brother.
I appreciate it.
With 2 topics. Yes. I want to talk. I listen to Mexican news today. Yes, I'm glad the cockroach from Guadalajara, El Mincho, was killed by the president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum. I'm glad the cartel leader was murdered, assassinated. He was a second in command with El Chapo Guzman, which is now under siege in the United States. I'm glad he was murdered. He was killed. And yes, many cities are going in flames in Mexico, Guadalajara, Veracruz, Michoacan. And I'm glad about that, but I'm glad that the lady president had the gumption to attack this cartel leader, and I'm glad he was assassinated. And Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, she knows what to do. She's not a pussycat. She's going to take care of that.
Can I say something, Luciano? Can I say something?
Yes.
So, generally speaking, when you do something stately that's for the common good, and you get shot and killed, that's when you get assassinated. When you are a thug that's like, just a glorified drug dealer, which he was, you got shot. That's different than getting assassinated. I would not call this an assassination.
Lenny, the Mexicano people are applauding Claudia. They're so enthusiastic about what happened to this cockroach, this cartel leader. The working class Mexicanos are absolutely encouraging and giving her applause that Claudia Sheinbaum did what she did, Lenny. This is in Mexico. Do
you think I'm disagreeing with you? I was just talking about the verb you used.
I'm just telling you what the average American, Mexicano from Mexico, the people are giving her applauses upon applause. They're going to their various towns, and they're giving, and they're complimenting her on she had the gumption to do that.
Luciano.
Yes, go ahead, please.
I think there's a precedent for this, and it's a little pop culture bingo for you. I don't even know if you know this. Do you remember the end of New Jack City when Nino Brown got shot in a courthouse? Everybody was happy that the old dude came in and shot Nino Brown. Nobody was mad. Ice-T put his sunglasses on, Judd Nelson walked away, and Nino Brown's body fell and landed, and they started singing For the Love of Money, and the credits rolled. Nobody's mad that this drug lord is gone. I'm not saying that. And generally speaking, when people step up to try to keep people safe from people that seem to be invincible, people are grateful. So I concur with that. What's the other thing that you were talking about?
Yeah, so I'm glad that the Mexicano president did what she did. And I second comment to you, please, is Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny, if you listen to his songs, his words that are coming out of his mouth, he had filthy words. He was saying he loves to have sex with Satan. He loves to have sex with Lucifer, and it's just disgusting, evil words.
Whoa. I get
Puerto
that.
Rican. He's Puerto Rican.
Hold on.
No, you don't get that, Lenny, please.
I do get that because that's not the point.
I was listening to Spanish. Go ahead, please. I'll be quiet.
No, and the reason why I'm cutting you off, Luciano, is because you're going.
Oh man, you don't want me to say something about my own people? I'm criticizing. He's Latino, Puerto Rican, just like me. I'm just telling you what other people were saying.
I'm not saying that, Luciano.
His song was
I get that. We've talked about that, but that's not how Bad Bunny came up today. We have to keep things in context. So just play along for just a second.
You as a black man keeping things in context when I'm Puerto Rican and he's Puerto Rican? How does that make sense?
This is why I hang up on you, Luciano. Just because I get frustrated because I run out of bread trying to leave breadcrumbs to kind of lead you along to where I was going. The only reason why Bad Bunny came up today, and I love you, Luciano, you know that, but I need you to follow along. Bad Bunny came up not because we were defending Bad Bunny being on the Super Bowl. The point was the same conservatives that were complaining about Bad Bunny and it's not American, and Puerto Rican culture is not really American culture. We have to have a real Super Bowl halftime show that's really American versus Bad Bunny, who's not really American from Puerto Rico like you. Those same people are now trying to argue that taking over Cuba is all of a sudden American. That was the point. I don't want to get into culture wars. In fact, it's part of what's wrong with this country is the fact that we are caught up in so many culture wars. We have no consistency, which means we have no consistency with Constitution or culture or mores in regards to what we used to do. That was the point. I don't want to argue about Bad Bunny lyrics. That was the beginning of the month, not the end of the month. We're literally almost in March. We're almost closer to the NFL draft than we are the Super Bowl. We're approaching that midpoint. No, I don't want to talk about Bad Bunny's lyrics. I heard about them, and yeah. Disgusting. Not the first disgusting thing that was done in a Super Bowl, by the way. Did you see Madonna's performance? She shouldn't have worn that. Did you see Prince playing his guitar? He shouldn't have done that. Michael Jackson was doing all kind of hip thrusts. That was 1993. So, save it. I get it. I'm not happy about it. I'm not going to sit there and be shocked by it either. Literally, people have been gyrating and insinuating things since Elvis Presley and Little Richard. As my cousin used to say, back in your daddy's day, in my daddy's day. So, that wasn't the point of why I brought up Bad Bunny. My point was, a part of what we call America, they're not a state, but they are American citizens. We complained about them not being American enough, but then we're going to go take over Cuba, which I have heard on airwaves and on social media and a rationalization on the news, or an attempted rationalization. That was my point, not the lyrics. Because the last time they played the music, this time they played the lyrics. I referenced that earlier. If you know where it's from, 866-391-1020. You will win something on Pop Culture Bingo, but nothing from this radio station. I have to put that disclaimer out there. Go into the news, and then coming back to the phones on News Radio KDKA.
Don't delay in getting that plumbing repair done. Call Palucci Plumbing today for all of your plumbing needs. From trenchless sewer repair and waterline repairs and replacement, hot water tanks, sewer camera inspections, to Pittsburgh potty repairs, no job is too small for Palucci Plumbing. Owners Amy and Nick Palucci have been in business for 26 years, so give them a call for your next plumbing repair or replacement. Palucci Plumbing, 412-782-5050. That's 412-782-5050.
Here's a tale of Linda trying to lose weight, but the med prices she found were all over the place.
Hidden fees and markups made her jaw drop low. Then she found GoodRx. Now she's in the know.
GLP-1 subscriptions FDA approved.
With clear upfront pricing.
And same-day pickup.
That's GoodRx, the no-nonsense way. Save time and money on prescriptions.
Get to GoodRx.com/weight loss. GoodRx is not insurance.
Ah, the most beautiful time of year is upon us. Tax season. And Tax Slayer is here to help you file. We guarantee 100% accuracy and your maximum refund. Those are some good numbers. And you can trust me, because I'm a talking calculator. Did I mention Tax Slayer even has support from real US-based humans? If you have any questions along the way, beat the rush and start for free today. Tax Slayer. File fearlessly.
When you're handling an estate or an inherited home, the decisions can feel overwhelming. At Home Buyers of Pittsburgh, we help families through this every single week. We make a quick, fair cash offer on the home, coordinate any cleanouts, help you through the process, and we'll buy it in its current condition. No pressure, no surprises. Visit homebuyersoftpittsburgh.com or call 412-500-9057 for help selling today. That's 412-500-9057 for help selling today.
Home Buyers of Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh's local trusted home buyer since 2015.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
CBS News Brief. Americans in Mexico warned to shelter in place after Mexican forces kill the feared leader of the Jalisco New Generation drug cartel, triggering scenes of gang warfare. CBS's Karen Huaz in Mexico City.
The Jalisco governor, Pablo Lemus Navarro, activated a code red, which indicates a state of emergency. Several hours of roadblocks with burning vehicles in Jalisco and other states nearby.
Another big blizzard aiming for the nation's northeast. Providence Mayor Brett Smiley.
We have emergency warming centers as part of our winter plans, but then we also have contingency for actual shelters. And so if necessary, we will activate our shelter plan.
And Team USA celebrating its first Olympic gold in ice hockey in 46 years. CBS's Kelly O'Grady was watching.
My goodness, did they celebrate when Jack Hughes hit that game-winning shot. It was in sudden death overtime. It had been 1-1 going into it. The final score was 2-1.
CBS News Brief, I'm Vicky Barr.
Here's the latest from the KDKA Community Message Board.
Obsessed with pizza? So are they at Slice on Broadway. The 2025 winner of World's Best Cheese Pizza Slice is right here in the Berg with 6 Pittsburgh locations, always serving delicious New York-style pizza, hoagies, and salads. Order yours today. Visit sliceonbroadway.com. It's the weekly program that keeps you current with the latest travel trends and vacation values. Listen to AAA's Talking Travel every Saturday morning at 11 on KDKA Radio. Looking for a unique night out in Pittsburgh? Don't miss Pop Couture, Fashion, Fame, and Obsession. It's a high-energy mix of dance, music, and jaw-dropping style, making its Heinz Hall debut Monday, April 20th. Part of Pittsburgh Earth Day's Ecolution Gala. Tickets on sale now at pittsburghearthday.org/ecolution.
Details at kdkaradio.com.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel. Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Want to treat yourself to something safe, gorgeous, and affordable? Call PJ Fitzpatrick. The jacuzzi shower system from PJ Fitzpatrick features a low entry threshold with tons of design options. The jacuzzi shower is luxurious, affordable, and it all installs in just one day. Plus, PJ will include a free shower seat and safety bars for all customers this month. Visit trustpj.com today for your free design consultation.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're still grooving, still connecting, still loving, still turning up, still thriving. You still got it, but your immune system, it weakens as you age. That's where vaccines come in. They help train and strengthen your immune response to fight off respiratory illnesses like flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, or COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Book in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Tune in this Sunday morning at 8 for the Coons Cooking Hour with Rob Pratt and the Coons Market team as they discuss favorite recipes. It's the Coons Cooking Hour, presented by Coons Market, your hometown Pittsburgh grocer.
Planning for retirement isn't easy. If you don't know where to start, join Beth Andrews of Net Worth Advisors every Saturday at 1 for the Net Worth Financial Hour. Beth shares helpful tips and strategies that just might change the course of your retirement. Listen every Saturday at 1 to the Net Worth Financial Hour with Beth Andrews of Net Worth Advisors. Net Worth Advisors, LLC, is a registered investment advisor.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like payroll manager.
Hi, my last paycheck was all in Icelandic krona.
You are welcome.
Welcome?
Given the exchange rate between the dollar and the krona, you're technically a millionaire now. Don't spend it all in one place.
I can't really spend it anywhere.
There's always Iceland.
This is your job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Blustery and cold tonight and tomorrow with intermittent snow and flurries. Doesn't amount to much, but there certainly could be some slippery spots. Tonight down to 27, high tomorrow 32, and mostly cloudy for Tuesday, high near freezing. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist John Feerick, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
All right, it is chilly now over the weekend. Monday, I'll be back in a little bit late start. We got warm weather baseball down in Florida, so catch me Monday after Pirate Baseball, all the way till 6 o'clock. Colin Dunlap, KDK.
All right, I'm going to try to get through these phone calls. I'm going to try to let you say your piece without being too lengthy, but also not cutting you off. So 866-391-1020, they're kind of jammed up. I'm going to 6, not going to 9, but I'm obviously not only going to 5. So I'm still here, and you're still there. 866-391-1020, and Ross in Braddock is now here, where I am there on News Radio KDK.
Well, good afternoon. I was going to make a quip about President Obama and his testing of the cultural wars with his statement about the aliens, but you mentioned talked on Dana Plato and Gary Coleman. So the cultural quiz master that you are, see if you can follow me on this. I'm going to go ahead and take that left turn at Albuquerque.
Okay.
And mention that I always thought years before this name stuff came up for college kids, that Vegas and the betting atmosphere has always had a rather edgy or even morbid side. Now, the young man who passed away, who used to be on Friends, when that happened a few years ago, I can't remember, Perry?
Matthew Perry.
Thank you, Matthew Perry. When that happened, I texted my sister. I said, because we're not too far apart in age. And she understood. I was trying to poke fun at her about our age and also make a statement about our social situation. I said, who'd have thought? And I'm always thinking that Vegas has had this betting line and our culture, but it's not talked about. I think you understand what I get.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought that one of the Friends would pass before one of the Brady kids would pass? You see what I'm saying? There has to be a betting line on that. And a few years ago, well, back then when that show wrapped up, we almost did lose Maureen. She had a little issue with drugs, but she cleans up. All the Brady kids are still here.
Yeah.
And Matthew Perry and drugs, his pension and for self-medication took him out. And it's just sad when you talk about, TV kids.
Well, it's interesting you talk about that. Well, Friends, they were adults. 2, the Bradys were iconic because it was a unique concept. It's not like the Bradys were on for 10 years. I think the Brady Bunch was on ABC for maybe 3 seasons,
I think 4.
Maybe 4 tops.
3 or 4, right.
Look at how long Friends was on. Friends was on for almost a decade, which, by the way, it was a stolen concept from not in Living Color, from Living Single, which people
single, right? So, yeah.
I'm going to get all Chris Moore on everybody for just a second. Here is your Black History Month fact for the day. There are a lot of people that don't realize that there was a show called Living Single in which there were 3 women that befriended 2 men that ended up talking about living in New York City, one of the most diverse cities in the United States, at a point where literally 2 of the women and the 2 guys ended up dating each other and being a couple, and they ran for several years on Fox, ironically enough, when Fox used to be the bastion of black entertainment, ironically enough, between Living Single, Rock, and In Living Color, among others. That said, and 21 Jump Street. That said, they took this concept and then gave it to Friends, and then it became on NBC. Go ahead. Sorry, Ross.
And I'll leave you with this. I know you want to get his... You mentioned Elvis. You want to talk about CRT. Elvis, where did he steal his moves and the basis of his...
Ross, I got to let you go because you only get one Black History Month moment per show. Go read the fine print. I've already done it. Maybe next week. Oh, wait, it won't be Black History Month anymore. Oh, well, we won't talk about Black history until next year. Too bad, so sad. You know that's not true. 866-391-1020. Going back to the phones, going to Anthony in Oakland. You were on KDK.
After listening to David from San Francisco and a bunch of other progressives, including Mondani from New York and Brandon Johnson, this talking point about taxing the rich and the wealthy has gotten nauseating. People, the wealthy are the ones who pay the bulk of the taxes, they in small business. Okay? It's the wealthy that allow the working poor and the poor to have an earned income credit. Okay? This stuff doesn't happen like Bewitched that allow you to get most of the money that the working poor and the poor have paid in taxes back to them with a bonus.
Well, here's the ironic. The ironic thing about that, Anthony, is it's done under the guise of fairness, which is why I brought up to David. Okay, is it really fair for somebody that grew up poor? Okay, you're Dolly Parton. You grow up poor in the mountains of Tennessee, and you go on to be worth, I don't know, Dolly Parton's probably worth about $200 to $300 million. She is what you would consider super rich. Is it fair to her to double and triple her tax rate, even from where it is right now, because it's considered fairness? I mean, she went from being dirt poor to being Dolly Parton. I mean, there's got to be something to be said about the fairness of her keeping her money and letting her do with it what she will. Now, it's Dolly Parton, so she's donated to a lot of different things. But it's funny that you'd bring that up because a lot of those positions are made from a position of it's only fair to do that. And it's like, okay, who is it fair to?
Well, look, let's be very, very, very clear. The super rich and the wealthy, if you tax them too much, and corporations, they'll just move to a state that doesn't.
That's what they do.
And that's what's happened in California, in New York. Yep. That's what's happened to look at what happened in Illinois.
Yep.
They're losing companies on a record pace.
Yep.
You cannot, and most of the nonsense that goes on in these blue cities is because they've decided that a lot of the money needs to go to illegals.
Anthony, by the way,
sorry.
What did Chicago just lose, kind of, sort of, just a couple of weeks ago? They lost the Chicago Bears. How do you lose the Chicago Bears if you're Chicago? They're going to play in Northwestern Indiana, to your point. Why? It's cheaper to build the stadium there. It's cheaper to get land there. It's cheaper to do things that the team wants. They're literally the Chicago bleeping Bears, parentheses, of Gary, Indiana, end parentheses.
It's going to happen here in Pittsburgh. If this mayor comes up with the same nonsense, the Steelers will move to Cranberry, to the county across. If this county with Inamorado and all that, and Summerlee, and see, folks, you folks, see, they never, and this is why they need to be challenged. They want to challenge Fetterman. Why do you want to challenge Fetterman? Because he doesn't vote with you not 100% of the time. He only votes with you 90% of the time.
Yeah, but they want to, and I got to let you go. I got other callers, Anthony. They challenge Fetterman because Fetterman's full of it. Por ejemplo, real quick. Then one more phone call, then break. Then everybody else, and I'm out of here. Fetterman literally has the audacity to go on here and say, hey, the State of the Union, don't interrupt the president. Respect the office. The same dude that didn't want to wear a suit in the state capitol as your lieutenant governor, who walked around in hoodies in your United States Senate buildings. The guy that was flying a weed flag outside of his window when weed was not legal in Pennsylvania recreationally. The guy that was doing gay marriage ceremonies when it wasn't legal yet. Respect the office now? Go fly a kite, child of God. No. That's why they want to get rid of Fetterman, because Fetterman's just trying to play folks politically for Fetterman's gain. I'm kind of a center. I'm pushing back against the left, even though I got here by running so far left of Connor Lamb that I almost fell over, leaning so far to the left. That's why the Democrats are like, we see you. I don't blame them. Not that I dislike them. I don't really care. But look, when the hypocrisy is so thick in the air where I can barely breathe, every now and then I got to say something, which is why you see me coughing on the air so much. I got to talk about this all the time. 866-391-1020. Joanne in Point Breeze, you're on KDK.
Hi, Lenny. You know, the thing that bothers me when they talk about the lady that's running the county, everybody knows, or anybody with common sense knows, Fitzgerald should have raised those taxes, but he did not want to look bad. And now they're, pointing him like he's the best thing since white on rice. And she had to come in and raise the taxes because she looked at what was going on with Allegheny County. So please don't use this lady because she raised taxes. This woman had very little choice, if any. The other thing, did you say we're not going to talk?
Go ahead.
Pardon?
No, because I got to get the other callers. I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I wanted to talk about the police force. But it also has to do with what happened in Chicago when you look at black history. Did you say you weren't talking about black history at all?
No, I was being facetious. I will always talk about black history.
Yeah, all right. Thank you. Me too. But in Chicago, that was one of the most egregious, the worst thing in this country that happened, or one of the worst things that the police department And I would never say, don't fund the police. They had to make huge changes. But they were executing these men. There was 120 of them. 110 of them were black men. That they did everything. They were executing these men.
I will tell you what they were doing to the men, Joanne, and I'm going to have to let you go. I was there when this story broke in Chicago. Literally, John Birch was the name of the police chief in Chicago. They were literally torturing people to the point where they were putting electrodes on black men's testicles and torturing them. That all came out when I was on WVON. So I'm extremely well aware of that. So, yes, you brought it up. It did happen. And for those that say the police would never do anything like that, I was there for that story. Absolutely they would. And it was documented. And eventually they did pay for their wrongdoing. Some of them did, not all of them. 866-391-1020. Two more very quickly. Dave in Wilkinsburg, very quickly. You're on KDK.
Well, I have a few questions, and then I'd like to make comments after I hear your response.
You're going to have to be quick.
Puerto Rico and Cuba got rebuilt with basically renewable energy, mostly solar energy infrastructure right after the hurricanes. Back to Luciano, what was I going to say? The renewable energy fields are falling behind the rest of the world as far as technological advance. I'm watching the Winter Olympics closing ceremonies. The rest of the world is way more advanced in renewable energies than we are. You brought up that we should improve the trade schools, or kids should go to trade schools.
To build up the infrastructure,
boys, yes. I guess.
No, I didn't say boys. I said kids. I talked about the infrastructure.
Okay, kids. Yeah, I agree. And maybe the trade schools should improve the renewable energy programs they have for the middle schoolers and the high school kids.
Dave, I appreciate your phone call. They could do that. We have to make sure that it's affordable in the United States. Other countries subsidize a lot more than we do. Other countries don't put their thumbs on the scales of the military and keep their thumbs off the scales of the economy the way we do. There are other things that they have, including, socialized medicine that we don't have. They spend their money on other things. We spend our monies in certain ways. Some countries have free college tuition, too. More to come next week on that. Last one, Tom, on the south side. Very quickly, sir, you're on KDK.
I'll blow through this as quickly as I can. Tariffs. What law firm in town is going to step up and file the class action to get my $2,000 back because that fool imposes illegal tariffs on me?
The real answer to that question, Tom, will be some Democrat lawyer that's trying to make a name for themselves that might run for state house, state senate, or some type of office over the next 1 to 3 years. Don't be shocked if that comes up soon. Go ahead.
Still my $2,000. Gaza. They just killed the settlers just killed another U.S. citizen, and the 700 Palestinians have been killed since the quote peace treaty was enacted. I'm not sure you're going to be able to convince them that there's peace in Gaza.
And Tom, to that point, I appreciate your phone call. The problem that you're bringing up that I think is accurate is the fact that one side will consider it peace, and this happens a lot in all these different conflicts. One side says, we've established peace. They bring in a power broker that says, yes, this is peace. The other side says, no, this isn't peace. This isn't comfort. I have no safety, and I'm going to lie in wait. Unfortunately, that's kind of how we got to October 7th. Now, granted, it wasn't all the Palestinians. It was backers of Hamas. I get that. But to your point, this is how this gets fermented. And this is how this becomes a secular item that we continuously have to deal with. Appreciate all you all's phone calls. I'm going to break real quick, and then I'm going home. But break first on News Radio KDK.
How about some fantastic February savings at Coons Market? Isn't that right, Frank Dentisi?
Right, Rob. In our meat department, individually quick frozen tilapia fillets, $3.49 a pound. In the produce department, extra large golden pineapples are $3.99 each. In our deli, battered walleye fillet strips are $13.99 a pound. An additional savings this week, Selected varieties of Mrs. T pierogies, 12 to 16-ounce packages, 2 for $5.
Fantastic savings. Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition.
Keeping up with bills can be tough, but you don't have to do it alone. Duquesne Light Company's Customer Assistant Program helps income-qualified customers lower their monthly electric bills. The employees at Duquesne Light realize these are difficult times, and they're committed to supporting our communities. Applying is simple. Just visit DuquesneLight.com/CAP and apply online. Don't wait. See if you qualify today. At Duquesne Light Company, they are here to help when you need it most.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Every morning, we rise and shine, make breakfast, and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature-Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature-Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
If you dread dealing with your insurance more than getting stuck in an elevator with an overshare,
bean burrito for lunch.
You have Insuranoia. You should have NJM. They go to great lengths to do what's best for their policyholders. Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
Why would a guy in financial services pick a fight with the financial industry? Because in many cases, the system they built works more for them than it does for you. Tune in for a new kind of retirement show with Greg Ayler. Now at a new time, Saturdays at 5 on the Voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
Hear about it. Then talk about it. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All righty, look. As you know the routine. It's Sunday night. I'm out of here. I will be doing 2 to 6 moving forward. So catch up to me every Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern time here on News Radio KDKA. As you also well know, I will be here Monday mornings, 8 to 9. I will be here tomorrow morning with Larry Richard on the Big K Morning Show. Always enjoy being on with him. 8 to 9, Big K Morning Show. Of course, it's going to go from Larry to Marty to Colin to Rob, and passing of the News Radio KDKA baton. Of course, always appreciate Mike working with me. Always appreciate all of you all's phone calls. Always appreciate those that are watching on the YouTube stream, including a special cute someone out there in Florida. Want to say hi to that lovely family of mine down there. In the meanwhile, I will catch up to you on Monday, 8 a.m. As always, I enjoy talking to you. You know I love you, and I will catch up to you in less than 24 hours. Actually, less than 14 hours. TCNGB. Well, more like 15 hours. TCNGB. Take care and God bless. Peace.
The Big K Morning Show with Larry Richards.
Sheldon Williams, so your news.